All right, guys. Okay, guys. Have you read Chante, was it Chante? Chante Joseph's article in Vogue?
No.
Yes.
Good. And I'll hit you to the game.
Okay.
Basically, her article is like, it's going mad, it's going nuts, it's causing people lots of distress. She's gone viral, people are cussing her, people are supporting her. It's all nuts. Because basically, the premise is having a boyfriend in modern times embarrassing?
Okay.
All right.
I understand what you mean now. I haven't read the article, but I've seen
The stuff.
the stuff.
So Chante Joseph, big up Chante, she's a writer, and she wrote for Vogue, and she said that she was exploring the shifting attitudes towards relationships in the digital age, asking why being openly partnered has started to feel socially awkward online. And her article examines how women are redefining the visibility of love, identity, and independence in an era where singlehood is often celebrated more than coupledom. Right? So she says social media has transformed romantic expression into a delicate balancing act. She said most, like, where women were always like, it's my boyfriend, and I've got to have a boyfriend, and it validates me having a boyfriend. She says now it seems more cooler to even say that you're single, especially in a heterosexual relationship, if you're heterosexual, that it's more cool to say that you're single. It's a bit passé to say, like, I've got a man, and women are tending to share pictures of half their man, blurred out man, just not acknowledging because actually it's more attractive or it's more intriguing to be single. So they say. Someone said, even though I'm a romantic, I still feel like men will embarrass you even 12 years in, so claiming them feels so lame. Someone says, why does having a boyfriend feel Republican? Someone else said, boyfriends are out of style, they won't come back until they start acting right. So, yeah, so Joseph says that, Chante says that being single gives you this ultimate freedom to say and do what you want. I do notice that we can become more beige and watered down online when in a relationship, myself included. So, what do you guys think about this?
I see where she's going with it. And I would say, I mean, I've said this here. I do feel as a married, my voice can get sidelined to what I would call like single politics, or the politics of being single and the righteousness that goes along with they're all shit out there. And I know because I'm out there with people that aren't out there. But then as a married, it's like you're even further poo-pooed. It's almost like a childless person talking about parenting. And whatever they have observed, they may know a thing or two, but it's like, but you ain't got kids, so you can't talk about it. And then there is a shame aspect. I don't know if it's shame, but why are people hiding their man's faces? I have no idea why folks are doing that, but it's very prevalent.
Also, one of the commenters said that the evil eye is real. They believe in evil eye. They feel like people's eyes and negativity is one of the factors of why they don't post their man. But the overarching was that it's uncool. How do you feel, man in the room?
I think it's a really good question to ask for women to ask amongst women, and to discover the actual answer amongst you. And I think sometimes there are conversations that I had that are really like thought-provoking, and I kind of want to jump in as Mandem and be like, no, but what do you like? But I also think it's quite nice to observe and not be offended by something that's none of my business. And I think it's like, sometimes when black people are talking about blackness, we're chatting, we're figuring it out, right?
Yeah.
So if white people jump in and be like, well, that sounds offensive to me, it's like, brother, we haven't finished and concluded what we mean, but now we're going to conclude on the basis of what you're saying, like move. So I think it's really good, and I think one of my favorite things to observe women, specifically women of color, queer women, black women, discovering the language of their new existence. And I like that I get to witness that online. And I hope that never gets taken away, because I think we learn little parts of ourselves as a mirror. I love Chante Joseph. I've always loved Chante Joseph. I've seeked her out a million times to be like, you're just dope, man. Like the way your mind observes things. And the article and the headline was slightly disconnected. But I think that's a part of the sensationalism. It's gone crazy. It's millions of views. It's like, for her,
TMZ.
that's a great opportunity. Yeah, it's everywhere. Mamdani was asked a question.
Responded
and he responded. I think that's amazing. So all of those things I think are amazing. I think her actual reflections in the article were really interesting about who is the focus of the embarrassment. And I think that's an interwoman embarrassment. It's not really about men as the core subject. I think women are embarrassed to be observed by other women as being deeply into patriarchal thinking, deep into dating, deep into men, potentially losing themselves, potentially not centering themselves, and it not going well, right? That's about how women interact with each other. It's a bit like how in motherhood, I think mothers are harshest to other mothers about motherhood. It's not men. Men are not sitting there being like, oh, the way that she's carrying her baby, man, is wrong. Like we're not even there, right? And I think it's internal speak. I think what could be really good for men to understand is that there may be more elements of truth in the big headline than not. And what does that mean for us, right? And I think how we are working at the moment is really slow. We don't have our own North Star. It feels like our North Star is either to go into where like Trump is, wherever that dark alley is, or it's to be like, why aren't women looking at us? Why aren't they talking to us? And I think like both of those worlds aren't particularly right. I love it when men find themselves. I had a really beautiful conversation with a guy where he was like, I've lived at my family home for 10 years. In that 10 years, my partner has always decided what my home looks like. And I thought, I was gonna redo my house and I thought, what do I want? Like he actually asked himself, how does he want his house to look? How does he want his rooms to look? What color? What kind of aesthetic? Is he a moody madman type of man with a whiskey bar? Is he like, I want bright colors, or is he Afrocentric? And he's like, I'm just figuring that out. And I looked at him and I was like, that makes me so happy. Because doing the work isn't about big gestures. It's about the tiny decisions that you make in your life and who's at the center, who's anchoring you. And if you're anchoring a home just to attract a woman to come and stay there long enough, you're not in the home. And soon you will not be in the home, right? And I would love men to go through a genuine renaissance about who they are in relation to the world, and yes, women at times, but just who they are to themselves. And in my spaces, all the men's spaces, the men's circle, Dope Black Dads, those conversations are happening. And it's so beautiful.
Reflecting on the question, like, are men feeling that women are embarrassed of them?
Yeah, I think some men observe that. And I think if you're a good guy doing, and I don't mean good guy like, I'm a good guy. I mean like, if you're really just doing your thing, right? Like I think of your husband often, sorry for bringing him into it if he's not meant to be in it, but I think of your husband often, right? As a man that's doing what he's supposed to do. My uncle, my cousin, my brother, like there are men who are really doing it, right? And they're probably underserved, not for any particular reason, just because the world doesn't see men that are doing that as anything to look after in an overt way. And I think about those men and it's like, I almost want to do more work for them. They actually deserve an environment where they're affirmed for doing the right thing, probably without any fuss. And I think there's not enough of that from our community, from men going into other men and being like, yo, what you're doing very quietly is building a real understanding of what it takes to be a good man in this era. So men know that, but I think low vibrational men will always try to drag women down to the lowest vibration so they can meet them and exploit their blessings. That's just a strategy of manipulators. But that's not exclusively a gendered point. Women do the same thing too. Yeah. When a man's being high vibrational and he's like putting boundaries in place, they don't respect those boundaries because they want him where they want him to do what they want. They're not interested in his self-interest and what he needs as a man from the world. So I think when we gender it, it simplifies it too much. There is a type of person who will manipulate you to extract things from you with any care for you as an individual. And I think that's a problem. And we don't call it out as plainly as that enough.
However,
it's fancy.
Do you find men embarrassing when you're in a relationship?
You do, don't you, Farah?
I mean, stop calling me Farah.
Farah, sorry.
That was embarrassing, wasn't it?
No, but do you know why? I'm a reader, right? And how I read it and how I know it is two separate things. Allow me to be incomplete, man.
Because...
And that was my point, ladies and gentlemen. A man makes a mistake and he is dishonored.
That's how it's spelled.
And he's not given any grace.
Farah.
2 R's. Thank you, my queen.
Yes.
Sorry for
That's
saying
okay. You're excused. Do I find men embarrassing? Sometimes, but I find women embarrassing sometimes.
But
I
in relation to
haven't-
this article,
Yeah.
like the whole thing is that
Not hands up.
Shut up.
Give me an example of when you find women embarrassing, because women don't.
no,
really
let's
say
stay on
these things.
topic. That's not
We're
fair.
staying on topic.
After.
After.
Thanks. If I'm good, then I
Just
have
because
that.
If
based
you're
on the
good.
fact that there was a reaction to like women, is it embarrassing to be in a relationship? Is it embarrassing to put your man out there?
I think you can only be embarrassed if you're not 100% in it. Because, okay, so if you're with somebody, for example, and you feel like they're not on your level, say like you take them somewhere and you're embarrassed how they might act, or, you know what I mean? Or you don't even think
don't
of
you tell your
taking them
stories? That
somewhere.
felt like
This
a
is not my
story.
story. It's not my story to tell. Or you feel like if you took them somewhere, they might embarrass you. I can understand that. Do you know what I mean? But in general, I think that's quite a general statement to make that women find their boyfriends embarrassing. I think in a situation, if you're not right with the person, then that could be the case.
Well, I guess it's just a narrative because I think in this is that as women are rediscovering their autonomy, their independence, feminism is a thing. It's been a thing for the past decade or so. That to be a feminist and be all about women, then to be like, I actually want a man and I want to settle down and I don't know. All of that is what plays into
But
this.
I think that's people that aren't looking at feminism properly.
No,
because
I think it's also, I wouldn't even necessarily say that because if you are like it's like the argument that if you're black power,
you
and
should
all that
be
stuff,
with
you
a
should be
black person.
But yet you have everything
Yeah.
about black empowerment, everything about the leadership and the development and the evolution of black people. However, you happen to fall in love with someone that's not black. That's the kind
But
of...
you're not
I don't
pro-black.
know.
I
I don't think that's the same though.
Yeah.
No, but I was going to say that is that when you're down for the cause, you're like, women. However, and the cause, like the patriarchy is there,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. You've been an advocate for and I'm a feminist, but yeah, I really want a man.
Why
it
is
does,
that- why
but
is
I
they
think that's-
different?
No, but I think some people, I'm not like that. I think some women get
anybody
conflicted
who
with that.
feels that way
Conflated like
is
that.
not really understanding what we're talking about. Because you can want to be equal, you can want equal rights, you can want equal pay, you can want all of those things, but you can want to build a family with someone if you're heterosexual and that's your thing. Yeah, it doesn't mean that because I'm about women, I'm going to be about women.
Yeah, but isn't it just because people are finding it really difficult, and one of the ways to rationalize that feeling is to intellectualize it as if like men are the problem and they're embarrassing. Not every testimony about men is true, and not every testimony about men is rooted in like men's limitations. Sometimes it's just like your inability to genuinely connect with a masculine energy. That could happen for any reason, right? And I think because we don't self-reflect when we share online, so therefore I think the more sensationalized topics go further. Look, I think there's a lot of disingenuous communication around dating online for performance of engagement
Yes,
Yeah.
also
and
that.
clickbaiting and for revenue. Like you make money when you go viral online, and there's a lot of money driving it. And I think when we talk about what happens offline, like real personal, interpersonal, I think men and women are closer than people assume.
Definitely.
So I think it's a great topic to explore. Like, am I a little bit embarrassed, right, about saying I got a man, holding hands with someone, claiming them publicly, for it not to work out? And it's not about men will embarrass you. It's like it may not work out, right? And
There's
that's
that
There's also
hard.
the shame of that.
It's hard
Yeah.
to unravel from
That-
people.
Well, you get a lot of backlash. Like even thinking of Alani, when it's like she was engaged, and then she came out and was like, yeah, so my engagement is off. And then there was, look, this is men and women being like, of course, like you're undateable. Like how are you talking about dating when you can't even secure all of that?
That's crazy.
I can imagine, I mean, she's still out here, she'll share her bits, but other people seeing that, you'd be like, I'm not going to share when I'm in a relationship.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
And on the flip side, to be fair, we also have grown up in a world, especially in my world, men don't share their misses unless they're, I don't know what the turning point is for when guys show their misses, their wife or their girlfriend. But it's very, I wouldn't be surprised if a guy was like, yeah, I don't share my, because you automatically then default to that guy's a player or something like that. But it's not often, or it's not something that's celebrated, or that men are like, I'm openly sharing my misses, the girl that I'm seeing, and stuff like that. And there's an element of, from the guys that I've spoken to, that even to claim a woman, it goes into you're being soft, and then now you're whipped and all of that stuff, and now you're not with the mandem and all that type of stuff. So
I think there's a value in men being coupled, getting married. Like I think about someone, I hope he doesn't mind me saying
maybe
this,
married, yeah.
But I think about someone like Sace, right? And I think his presentation is on point in general in life. I think I'm really happy for him. I don't even speak to them like that, but I'm really happy for them. I do think there is a overinvestment in publicly and visible relationships. Right? I think you get this. Because every time I'm around you, people come up to you and be like, oh, you two, man, the way. And you're like, okay, cool, man, thank you. But it's a bit weird. Like, and I remember being in a public relationship and just, I found it really weird. Like the things people came up to you and said, thought and felt and things they shared with you, I think was just like a bit of an overreach, right? And I'm just saying, I love you, man, because I do. I really do. I'm really happy. I'm not thinking about what I'm creating for other people. And I think, would I do that again? Probably not, to be honest.
No.
I think there's a lot of peace in separating your worlds, right? And I think there's a world that I operate in for work, some of it for play and pleasure, but really my personal spaces, like I don't post my kids as much. I just reduced my visibility in some areas because I think sometimes there can be an unhealthy attachment and entitlement to your life when you present it. I think there's...
That's a fact.
I think men get a lot of value from publicly being in relationships though. Like to know that you're one of the lovable ones. Somebody loves you. I think it does something for people.
For women too, because there's that. I think the article is saying that there's a shift away from a woman being validated for being in a relationship. But I think humans generally like to see two people that make it and figure it out because it's world is shit and it's hope and it's aspiration. It's like if these two can make it, maybe there's hope for me. And it's unfair projection to those who are just mindlessly.
And by the way, I get the hope because I said the other day, I was like, sometimes I wish there was more, not even just black men, just men that I could look at and be like, oh, I like what you're doing. I can take that part, right? And I can add that to my thing. I was like, oh, I never thought about living in that area. And I think in my personal life, I maybe have it, but visibly for many men to see who don't have good men in their lives, it's not really common. No. And so a lot of the times we're working on TV characters and like disconnected parts of ideas about men. So a lot of it is just trying to ground the vision of men and relationships in a real way, which is like, men and women are deeply challenged. And if you're a person of color, black person specifically, you've gone through something. Like none of us came here without any story. So I think there's a lack of awareness of what that story is and what that journey is and how hard it is to get to a place where you're a stable, consistent individual. And I think we are quite judgy to each other, if I'm being honest. I think whenever any of us fall, how quickly we are to dance on the grave of that individual is scary to me because
we will get into
because
that.
Again, we're navigating multiple layers of historic and current challenges, right? I had a talk with one of the guys at one of the groups, and I said that when I started my therapy journey, I started off with one thing, and then I started unraveling all the things. And when I'm telling my therapist all the things that I've experienced, they were like, "What? What do you mean? Like how? Where was this person and where was that person and why is no one stopping that happening?" And you're like, I don't know. I've never known to be like protected like that. Not in the world. Like in my house, my mum would come out with all sorts and take on anybody. But you leave the house every day to hope that you're safe. You're trying to get to school. Yeah. You know, some Irish kid's like, "I'm gonna kill you." You're like, "What? Wait, why?" I'm just standing there. And he's like, "No, I'm gonna kill you, you black." And you're like, "Rah." So I'm walking home 45 minutes the long way trying to get home. There's no repair for that, right? And until you sit with somebody and bring it all up and you realize the amount of times you've had to consider your life, the amount of times that you've had to have your heart broken genuinely as a man where you gave everything you knew you had and lost, there's no repair for that. There's no softness for that. So I do think like I wish more men have that information. But if you can't get it in community with women, which many men can't, whether rightly or wrongly, I think you need to go on your own road. And it will mean that you can't anchor yourself to women at this time. It's not going to bring you the peace and freedom that you think it's going to, because they don't see you as that. And the moment you show up in a way that isn't a black male superhero, then you're that dangerous black guy that I need to avoid. And it's like, I don't think it's that simple, but I understand why women are protecting themselves with that level of room at this time. So it's just, maybe it's not a time of alignment.
Would you, if you could, would you not post your husband if things were different? Have you had a chance, like, do you know what? Or does it, you're not under that pressure at all?
No. Maybe the boys in somewhere may not put the kids up, but not us as a couple. It's not like we're out here being like, oh, we're a symbol of hope. Yeah. But I am proud of 25 years. I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
And so on our anniversaries or whatever, I want to celebrate that this is probably the longest relationship I'll ever have. And yeah, it's bloody hard. So yeah, I'm going to pat myself on the back. We've got through another year. So yeah, no, I would still.
My concern with that story, right? So that you're having that experience, right? And I feel in that you're not getting the community support in addition. I'm not saying you have none. I'm just saying that you do need layers of people really affirming that achievement to really keep it going. And people don't understand how the negging and the little words impact how you feel about something that you're doing, because it is hard. Yeah. And I weirdly felt unsupported, but I couldn't really ask for it. Do you know what I mean? It's like this weird duality of like, I can't ask anybody for support because you're not really in this. But I also felt like there was more desire in poking holes and figuring out what the thing was than it was to celebrate that it's happening. Okay, it's a weird phenom.
Wait, when you're in a long term, you felt unsupported from people around you because
I think there was more desire to be involved and fracture than there was to celebrate, heal,
from the
and
people
grow.
in your circle.
I think it's deeper than that. I think it's family. It's all of it. Like, for instance, I don't believe in it's none of our business, right? I think if you attend someone's wedding, it's an investment in someone's wedding and their marriage, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the times you will find people attend, but when it came to challenging times, nobody was attempting to like understand and grip the family together. I think that's really about a cultural thing. If you're in like Nigeria or something, everyone's in your marriage, right? And we probably complain that everyone's in your marriage as a result. But I think here, there's a lot of individualism and a lot of separation from community and family who are on the same page as to what you're trying to create. So it does make marriage harder in this environment. So I
hear you.
I understand that.
I probably have a whole other set of friends who are all in couples. So it's probably like 7 of us, and they're all like over 15 years in as well. But not everybody has that. I definitely think as you go through things, leaning on those people because they understand it and they've known us for a long time. Yeah, without them, and definitely some family members, but it's not all families. Some family members are happier if you are not together. Yeah. And that's just the truth of the matter.
That's a human thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
can I give a tiny
circle.
example? Because I do want to contextualize it for people. Like, I don't want to misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm saying like you could have a conflict with your partner that's small, but that's in your present mind.
Yeah.
And you might share a part of it, right? And people then take a side and form an opinion of the person based on, and so
that
you
one
can't,
piece of information.
Yeah, you can't say anything, and I think that's unhealthy to say nothing. But obviously, I don't want you to go around telling every single minute detail. But I think a healthy, balanced opinion of if you're doing something for life, there's moments where you're disconnected, and in that moment, like who are your people and how do they show up? And I feel like in that moment, that's been used as a platform to accelerate the disconnect rather than like just allow the person to vent and just be like,
I think that's human, because I think we were talking about that last week. We were talking about trust and being able to open up. Because like if you're going through something with a guy that you're seeing, how do you feel supported? If you had like, do you feel like you're supported?
Yeah, but I also find it hard to talk about things. So. But I know if I get to the point where I need to talk about it, I'm extremely supported to the point of where you might want to beat someone up. And same, you know.
Like I think it's human nature to take sides because you can't help but have an opinion and a perspective of what you're bringing to the advice table.
I think what I will say though, so I've had some friends that are in long-term relationships and I've been witness to their relationship throughout the years. And when they've had struggles, I don't take sides. I am always there to listen to my friend, but equally when they start chatting shit about their partner, I'm always like, you know that's not the case. I will pull them up because I'm not just going to be like, yeah, it's true. They're wicked, they're evil. Why do they do that? Especially if I know that that's not been the case and you've been supported at some times. Maybe you're not supposed to be together now, but let's talk through it. I'm not going to just be like, yeah, they're a witch. So I think it's important to have a balance. And if you are truly a friend, you should be able to have a balance and hopefully give your friend the other side, you know, look at it from their point of view as well.
Yeah, that's like your circle choices as well, isn't it? Or your people, isn't it? Like your network, because not everybody has the capacity.
Definitely.
And that family thing would be interesting to have, because I'm for a family forum. I don't really have a family to do it, but I'm for a family forum. Let's get everybody together and sit down and figure this shit out. I think
it's the right.
It's the
members of the
right
family
part, the
because
right
to do that.
I've
Because
got a
that's
big
standard
old-
in our
I've
family.
I've got a big old family, and some people need
No,
to
they
shut
don't
up.
need to come in. They don't need to enter the
Not
chat.
everybody can talk.
But I would
But
like the idea.
I
of
do
that.
think, like, for example, if you said, I think I'm going to leave Russell tomorrow, and your family bringing everyone for a sit down, right?
Yeah.
A divorce should be a family decision.
That's how it would go.
For
So
me,
generally
I think
that's the
that's
practice. If you
that's
do
a
it,
powerful
It's-
thing.
then
Yeah.
you could say it. So let's say, so now, like, parentless, it would be my sisters.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to my sisters. For one, my sister ain't going to allow it to take place. But the steps are, then you'd call my uncle and we've got to sit down.
Yeah.
And I think it's like your first 3 times, you get sent back home. And then if you are like, look, I've moved out now, then you'll go through the separate.
Wow.
But I can't just be like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And anybody witness that. You have to have a meeting.
That's
Yeah.
so
Because mum would
interesting.
have to be called. We have to have a talk about it.
I think that's
I
And then
can't
you
amazing.
get
imagine. I
sent
think
back
that's
home.
wonderful, but I
Yeah.
can't imagine that amongst the people that I know. So I've got siblings that are married. I can't imagine that that's what would happen.
If they say they're
that's
splitting up.
not to say that the siblings and family members wouldn't have a conversation, because we'd be having conversations.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But it wouldn't be a case of they're coming to us first. Say for example, God forbid, my brother said, "Okay, I'm going to leave my missus."
Yeah.
Firstly, I'd fight him because she's like one of my favourite people in the world. But it wouldn't be like, I'm stopping you from doing it. We're going to have these meetings first. It would be, if it's happened, or you've gone through that, or you've told me about it and you've decided to leave, we're always going to talk about it, but it's not like I can stop them from doing it to begin with.
I think that's a
It's
bit
really
of a,
interesting.
You try and do the together thing. It's like actually almost all of my family members that have tried to separate, they've just got back together again because it's like the family will make it hard.
Yeah.
So even if you're like one of my cousins, he did move out, but his missus was always at all of the family.
See, that's
stuff.
what would happen
So it was
for us.
really hard for him to even start again. And then he just went back home because
Yeah.
everybody. But there are other people where everyone's like, it's enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
See,
you
I
need
get
to
that.
separate, and then you don't have.
I
the
think those
pressure.
things
Go
can
on.
work with things like adultery. I think those things can work with all forms of breakdown, right? And it's like, let's just say I cheat on you, AK, which I promise I'll never do. Okay?
We're trying to be sweet
We're
boy.
fighting you.
Do you see me as that? But I promise I'll never do.
Promise I'll
much.
never
Trying to
do.
sweet boy.
Too much R&B in the 90s. But I think if that was to occur, right, to sit down in front of your family, your daughter, and have to explain myself, right, gives you another level of accountability to your overall behavior, right? But I think even in that, right, I think Esther Perel talks about not all the time the person that adults is the perpetrator in the relationship, right?
yeah.
So it can come from different angles, but a level of truth will be established in community. And I think it will allow you to remove some of those stains and elements and rebuild properly. I think doing it in silent, in secret, and in shame,
That's
in the
the part
corner,
where-
I think means that your community isn't really anchoring your marriage. And
Yeah.
because we don't have the local pastor, the local
Yeah.
hairdresser, the local seamstress
Yeah,
in our
Yeah.
community, I think often we try to do those things on our own and we fail.
But just talking about this, because I feel the same. Like, so I say to my brother all the time, you could break up with her a little more, she's going to be around. Like, and I know that. And also, like, my brothers have separated, like, we're talking like decades ago, have separated from their partners before. And then because they're at everything, same thing, they end up getting back together.
Yeah.
And they've been successful ever since. But I think what's hard about situations like that is when the couple are really ready to be done and the family can't let go.
yeah.
That's very hard, because then, as you said about taking sides, that can happen too, and it becomes a very difficult situation. So I think there has to be a real honest level of communication, and you have to really listen to the person who is your family member as well.
Yeah.
Rather than just because
think
they
But
it's
feel
imagine
very
that's all in a
separated.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
that's-
we're all, so it's not the side conversation.
Yeah, it's like it's
not, you know,
open.
like
That's what I love about that
everybody has
situation.
to
Yeah.
air it out. And then it's kind of, if you are like, actually, no, I'm truly going, or somebody comes and begs or whatever, it's everybody saw it.
Yeah.
There's not the little whispers.
That's good.
And I think
because just one more thing. I think that is a great way of doing it because that's where the problems can stem.
Yeah.
When there's all these side meetings
Yeah.
and talks and stuff like that.
And if you're feeling shame and embarrassment,
But this is where lead it. Sorry, go on.
I'm going to say something like that because when I said I've got no family, I definitely know when my family members have been through it. That's a procedure I think it's a Ghanaian thing, I guess. And I know other cultures might do it. Very Ghanaian thing. You'd call on someone. And I was like, I wish we had that. I do wish we had that for us as like just going through relationships because I know when I have a level of, what's the word? Unclosed business. I'm learning to deal with like closure and not having closure. But there are moments when certain people can go along in life and get away with what they've done.
Yeah.
And it might even, I'm always quite fair. I'm like, look, I might be the perpetrator. I might have done something. But in this moment, I feel like this. But
Accountability.
Accountability. Because in the situation I was last in, where I felt so wronged, there was no account. And you feel isolated because I got my girls, I got my back. And then the people that are on his side or knew about him and knew what he'd done and knew that he'd done wrong, agreed that he'd done wrong, but he gets to walk on this earth.
It's that part
and
about...
it's an element of like having a community for that person to answer to. And that goes also to the embarrassment and the hiding and you're not showing a relationship or you're not owning that relationship that you're in. There's a whole lot of stuff to showing that picture of that person or admitting in front of the people that actually this is what happened and being held accountable to say, I'm sorry, or
I get
this
that.
is how we move forward.
Because the part about another person being able to, after they've done some fuckeries, being able to get on with their life.
Yeah.
And the people around you, if you've got mutuals, know that they've done some fuckeries, but you're just going on like, that's okay, it doesn't matter. That part, I would love for that person to have to sit down and be held accountable and hear the shit that you've done and have to be like, I'm sorry.
I think we're in a very avoidant culture. Though, so I think a lot of people don't get held properly. We talk about accountability, but accountability works if you have proximity to somebody. They can't hold strangers to accountability. And I think we don't know each other. We don't have deep enough friendships to be able to have those people hold into account anyway. So it's just like, it's really interesting. I remember being in a relationship in my early 20s and like, all of the people around them weren't real people. So I can't go to them and be like, hey, something's gone left. What's happening
there's all
here?
of that.
Yeah.
They didn't even know themselves. They were too busy vibing out, right? And again, this is late 20s life, but I just felt like I was on my own trying to steer a ship and it was quite exhausting and unrewarding. And I made a choice, right? And I remember her family like calling me and then being like, I was like, I came to you, all of you. Where were you? And now that I've made the decision, it's like, he doesn't care, typical, black man, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but I came to you. And like my mum raised me with certain communication, right? And I'm quite fearless in being the problem because I'm always looking for that improved connection. I want the depth, I want the affinity, I want the relationship, and I'm happy to do the work to do so. It doesn't faze me to do so. But I know that that's an advanced position to be in. And I'm blessed in some ways to have had the capacity to do that. But when you meet people who only know themselves to a certain level, you can't meet them there anyway. And I think, as I say, when we talk about a very shallow, individualistic society with low accountability, it allows everybody to shuck and jive, right? And so a lot of it is, and this is slightly off topic, but the woman who got her nails done and had a fight with the seamstress and her mother, please tell me you saw this.
No.
You guys are online, man. How do you don't know this? There was a woman who went to go get her nails done in one of those home salons. And I think she didn't like the work halfway through. So she was like, look, I don't like it, I just want to stop. And then so they're arguing and cussing. They both get their phones out and film. And then they're fighting now in the house, they're arguing it. The nail tech mum comes in and starts beating up the woman too. But then the nail tech goes online first, tells the story first. So everyone's like, oh, see what I mean?
No, I saw it. Yep.
And so it's like whoever goes to the internet first and loudest,
history,
and to people first and loudest wins, right? So people are now just jumping to tell the story before things have even established and developed so that they can be the winner in it and look good in it. And I think even that culture of it destroys the chances of relationships developing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you get liars.
Oh my gosh.
Because that story unfolded and basically the girl lied.
Like,
but
she knew she was filming.
I know, and she got all of the sympathy. Everyone's like, oh my God, I hope the police come. And then the other girl comes out and she's got all of the marks on her face. And it's like, no, I was jumped.
Oh.
It's like, oh shit,
Crazy.
we've been done.
So I have a deep feeling of like, I don't want to say a lack of trust, but a really strong awareness that relaxing around people and their stuff is just not on my priority. Like if I see something, I'm okay, I'm out. Because at this point, like I was thinking this today, I feel like I'm really lucky to have been around for 20 odd years, right?
Yeah.
Being Marvin and existing however I felt that I could add service and value to people. And I feel like at this point, I kind of want to move to the side. Like I want to make space because my actual goal is my children. There's so much passa and inauthenticity going on. I'm like, there's no, I don't think this is for me. Like, I don't think I have anything. I'm not trying to take from people or, you know, so I feel really strongly that I'm getting to that point where I feel I can't maintain integrity in this space.
Welcome to Your Aunties Could Never. I'm Auntie AK, aka Kittle, aka the auntie of all the aunties in all the land. And I'm here with...
I'm Farah, your resident Caribbean queen.
I'm Nana, aka the Black Fairy, aka Dark and Lovely.
And guys, we are joined by our favourite man in the world.
He's not even ours. He's their favourite.
Their favourite, your favourite.
Yes.
The audience
people's favourite.
The people's choice.
The people's champ.
The people's choice.
The champ is here. The champ is here.
Champ is here. Champ is here.
That's the nicest thing I've ever heard.
And he's matching the set.
I am, I'm in
You're blending into
tone.
a new
He's matching the
environment.
set.
I'm in tone.
Mr. Dope Black
I'm
Marvin
saying.
Harrison.
Thank you. I've been there since the beginning.
It's been a long time since me and you've been on the pod together. though.
Yeah,
You're
it's
in
been
the
a
wrong
long
place at the wrong
time.
time. You're going carnival and popping your youth.
I went to see my family.
No, that's not what I saw. I've gone to see my family in the Caribbean before. It didn't look like that.
Well,
She was jabbing.
I was happy for you. I
was
love it.
jabbing.
We need to arrange next year's.
Listen,
Yes,
I'm
please.
tired of telling you this.
Ready.
Let's do this thing.
No,
man.
I
Come on.
said yes every time you said it, so I'm down. I'm ready to
Let's
go.
do
It's
this
in my
thing.
head.
Are we getting like help from
find
funding
help.
bodies and stuff?
And the funding body's going to fund
Let's
us to
do
go to
this,
Jab
let's
Jab
do
because
this.
that's what we need
Fund
to
my
do.
body to go there, please.
But I have to say, last time you was on, we will get generally about 5 to 10 comments on Spotify. Your one, 25.
Wow.
And just all of the, I love Marvin. He's
Yeah.
so great. Keep having back on again. He's so wise.
Aw.
Yeah.
It's
When
a
I was-
whole
So
catalogue.
I was away and I didn't get to be here, but I was looking at it because I'm that girl. I like to see Wild One, and I was looking at all the things. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever, whatever.
You forgot to come take your place.
He's great, whatever. man sitting in my chair. Your aunties and uncle could never.
Yeah.
No, but I was saying to you that
It's great.
this is one of the few places I can come and really like have a conversation
Yeah.
cross-gender where there's no like booby traps. And I think because we know each other enough to know what our intention is, like it's not an unsafe space, so I get to really enjoy myself and be here.
Oh,
So thank you.
Thanks for coming. In your mint green top.
Thank you.
It's a nice one, isn't it?
He got some memo.
He did.
I love a knit. Sorry, that's my thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, it
It's
looks
a good
good.
one.
Do you know what I mean?
I like
It's
that.
very nice.
All right, guys, look, last week we had a little bit of a getting to know you session and we had Zlatan on. This time around, we're going back to what we know, and that's calling out the enemies of all the progresses.
Yes.
But today, because we have a gentleman in the room, it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, actually. We'll be serious about this. Men's Mental Health Awareness.
It's always good to
At
announce
least
your
do it
seriousness.
seriously.
Is it a month?
It's a month.
They get a whole
Wow.
month. Wait,
November.
Why does this feel like a disrespect?
They get
Is it a whole month for your brains,
Well, it's a,
for your
no,
feelings?
no, it's a week and a month. I don't know. I've seen month and I've seen week.
Mad
Maybe
thing.
get a week, but it's a month.
It's a
November.
month.
You got? Oh, you got one. You gonna grow more? Your moustache.
This is all I got, man.
Oh.
Is that as far as it goes?
Fulani hairs. It's not.
Oh,
we
is that
don't.
you're
We
going
don't
on?
do it. Yeah.
See?
But I mean, it's not patchy. You're all right. You're all right.
It covers enough
connects.
base to hold it,
It
but it could be
connects.
more one day.
You need
I'm
Batana.
gonna
Yeah.
get Beyonce's creams and stuff.
No, you need
and-
Batana.
Batana. I use Batana.
Or Aaron Wallace.
Which
has got
one,
some
though?
stuff.
Aaron's one is supposed to work pretty well.
The green one. It's beautiful.
No, I'll send you a link, darling.
Okay, please.
Anyway, as I was about to say,
Yeah.
lots of stuff is going on, right? So it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Week or month. And it calls for reflection on how society continues to overlook men's emotional and psychological well-being. From high-profile incidents to quiet daily struggles, the signs are clear that men's mental health needs far greater empathy, understanding, and proactive care. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deeply.
So I would also say what I've witnessed, well, also what actually recently happened with the stabbing, the man that did the stabbing in Huntingdon on the train.
Yes.
Sorry, is his name Anthony Williams?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's 32 years old, and he actually had a history of mental illness, actually,
Yeah.
which is being reported. And then we've got recent situations where misuse of alcohol have caused people to make crazy decisions. The trappings of fame has made certain men make decisions that are now putting their careers in jeopardy. And even public figures like Bouncer has come out and said all the stuff that came out about him and the misinformation about him from the Shea Bar and things like that caused him to really question his existence.
Was this the thing around Little Man and the...
All of that.
That's crazy that resulted in that.
And you don't
feedback
really
and
assume it,
response.
or you don't really know. We didn't assume that. I suppose you're not really thinking when you're caught up in the storm of everything how that person's mental health is affected. And I think generally, and again, I'll hand over to you in a sec, that as men taking on the brunt of stuff, you just think, well, generally we don't care when people are getting backlash anyway. But then when you take on the fact that maybe there's less empathy when it's a man because you think that a man could weather the storm anyway. The fact that he said he felt suicidal and he left the country, he's actually left the country and can't be here because of the bad vibes. All these things rolled into one, like there's a lack of understanding of what to do or how to handle men when it comes to their mental health. So I guess it's like, what do we do? How do we do it? There are some tips, but like, what do you...
Well, look, I think the primary thing is for men to hold men like Bouncer in those times, right? I think we don't do that enough. And I think about my space and how much, at times, not pressure, but how much intensity there is in using and accessing the space, and how much need there is for it is a form of pressure, because I want to maintain that space for other men to be able to have a place where they can be complex, nuanced, and be soft at times, right? Be vulnerable at times is a better word. There aren't enough of them. And I don't think people understand the existence and experience of men, and this particular generation of men. And I think if you're over 35, you come from a slightly different school of thought. You weren't afforded the privilege of information at scale that this generation of men. If you meet a 25-year-old man now, his idea of self is so different.
Yeah.
His idea of race is different. His idea of gender is different. His idea of sexuality is different. And like, I think there was like a lot of black men who were probably homosexual that weren't allowed to be, right?
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of them who were neurodivergent and were never allowed to express that. And I think those variations and many more combined, like when believing that you only can be a footballer or a rapper, is a deep limitation of the black male archetype. I think it's just meant that a generation of men are really stuck in a particular time, and they're a product of that time. And I think sometimes it's quite reductive to just outright dismiss them. But at the same time, I'm not sure I can invite women specifically into playing a role in their futures, because that's been very dangerous for them historically. But I think people who are in their lives, showing up for them is the primary thing that you can do to within your capacity. And I think like a lot of men don't get tested for prostate cancer and things as such. As a result, we go underdiagnosed really badly. I've done about 4 campaigns on prostate cancer, and every story was brutal. I had an amazing conversation with Johnny Nelson from Sky Sports, former boxer, talking about his brother and his dad who passed away from prostate cancer. And for him, he got really emotional, which really moved me profoundly, really. And it made me ring a bunch of men and just be like, have you checked? Have you gone? And are you going? When are you going? I'm coming, right? Because I just feel like we rely a lot on women to save us.
Yeah.
A lot of the times. And I just don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's working. I think it needs to come from other places. I think men need to see true value in living beyond 55.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of men don't, if I'm being honest.
If we look, I haven't done all the stats and numbers, but looking at even just a spate of, and I know there's various reasons from health, like a lot of rappers and black men in their 50s in this community, in our community, have passed quite early.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a consistent thing. I have a friend who recently was like, yeah, I think I've got some sort of intolerance, but I don't want to find out. I just scared to find out. And I guess it's like, I don't know what the men in your life are like when it comes to checkups and being on it when it comes to their health.
Oh, you know what? They are quite good, but that even so, Russ has high blood pressure, and it's like since he's had high blood pressure, it feels like now almost all of his friends also have high blood pressure.
Wow.
And like we're just mid-40s. And it just feels so, and this is overweight, skinny. It just doesn't matter. It seems to be stress. I don't know. But everybody seems to be getting in contact with him like, yes, I went to the doctors, had a bad headache. Yeah, I've got high blood pressure as well. And that's very scary. And then for the people that I know that have died just in the last 5 years, why are they all in their 40s and 50s and 80% are men? It just doesn't make any sense.
But I think this is where sometimes when I observe the critique of men online, I need to just turn it off because we oversimplify why that happens and we'll make it out like men just don't look after themselves. Like you still get sick though, right? You're still getting sick. It's not that it's achievable that you could do something about it if you did it earlier, but men are getting sick existing in capitalism in this environment, right? It's not working for them.
Yeah.
And the reconciling with that is a form of failure. So again, as I said, there is no soft landing for you to say that, the space to go and figure out who you are now and go build a life that you actually can live in. I also think many of us shouldn't be here still.
Here.
I think that's...
In the UK.
In the UK,
I think it's really unhealthy.
Yes.
A big part of my investigation in my health, they were like, hypertension is blood pressure over a long period of time. But blood pressure comes because of the amount of sodium that's in food, right, that we're consuming.
Yes.
But we're not sweating enough. Our bodies are designed to release a certain amount of sweat as a result of being in our natural habitat. Being here, we're not sweating enough, so it's retaining in our bodies and being trapped, and our body can't process it, right? So it's not like always stress related, and it's not always about someone didn't do something. It's just like the climate we are in isn't fit for our bodies. And so I think we should question at what point do we say enough is enough and we invite ourselves to be somewhere else, right? Yeah. And I think because there isn't enough open dialogue about that and there isn't enough forward planning for the idea of that, many of us have no choice but to be here, right? And we will create narratives as to, I'm here for the NHS and whatever. The NHS won't be here by the time you're 60.
I mean,
So,
people do.
People are like, if I get sick, I got the NHS. But I'm like, listen, man.
You don't even check when you go there.
You will be sick less if you are in 32 degrees,
somewhere
right?
else.
And so I remember spending 2.5 months in South Africa, and I was so happy. Like I felt so guilty because it was cold here, it was like snow, and like it was COVID and lockdown, and I kind of got out and then they shut the doors. And I remember just being so happy and I did not want to come home. I genuinely remember just staring at a window and thinking, other than my children, what the hell am I going home for?
Yeah.
I couldn't invent a reason. So I think I understand when men do it because it's the right thing to do, it's the honorable thing to do. But I think at some point you have to have a vision for yourself, right? Beyond all your roles, which means you survive, right? And I think we just don't have that.
What about the men in your world? Are they...
I think the men that are my age, they look after themselves more. There's an element of seeing people who are older than us not look after themselves, which is why they do it. And I mean, when I say look after themselves, I don't just mean externally. I mean that they do go for checkups and stuff like that.
They go into the doctors.
Yeah, but like my uncles and that, until they get to the point of they're very sick, that's when they've gone to the doctor. Like my uncle, one of my uncles had a stroke and he wasn't going to the doctor. And me and my cousin phoned him and he was talking some type of way. And our other uncle was like, yeah, I think something's wrong with him. And we were like, So we drove to their house and forced him to go to the doctor. When he went to the doctor, they took some bloods. By the time we dropped him home, the doctor rang us and was like, can you get him to a hospital, please? And he'd had like multiple mini strokes and he was just at home. And this is a man that over decades would never go to the dentist, would look like he's doing his own thing, would never go to the doctor.
Pulling his teeth out.
All of that shit.
White rum and
all of that shit, because he's just not, that generation, you just don't really go to the doctor. Which is wild because like my granddad's generation, they're taking everything that the doctor's telling them to do. Yeah. But that middle generation, for some reason, they just didn't do it. But now, my uncles most definitely look after themselves. But this is at the point of now they're sick. Yeah. They have ailments. They're on pills for the rest of their life. Do you know what I mean?
That's the other thing.
That's the other thing.
Is that, yeah. It's to going on pills. But mental health-wise, I still don't know too many men Online, I see people talking about I'm going for therapy, but
Yeah.
in my life, I still don't see that work being done. Like really actioned, like taking it serious. It's a bit of, I should go and speak to a therapist, but I don't know anybody that is really. You're probably the only person that I know.
It
I
doesn't
only
feel
know
good.
a couple of people that have.
It doesn't
no,
what?
I mean,
It doesn't feel good at all.
no, but it's
It's worse. I'd rather be investigated of my body, investigating my mind, right, which is a prism that many black men have had to build and protect and construct from the outer world, to go and dismantle that.
Yeah.
For what? You don't even know what you're dismantling it for. You're not even following a vision of, when I do this, on the other side, I'll be able to.
Yeah.
You've already messed up your relationship with your children. The woman the love of your life at 27 ain't chatting to you. Like you can't really
Yeah.
work properly. What are you dismantling these ideas for, right? And from a self-interest point of view, because you're not doing it for others, right? So I think like investigating your mind. I wanted to, because my best friend that I went uni with had a psychotic episode and I couldn't understand why. Like, you're me. How on earth? You're smart, you're funny, you're interesting, you're brave, you're powerful. Why are you having an episode, right? So I went to go and ask that question. And obviously then you pull one string, and then you're 10 strings down.
Yeah.
Now I'm at a place where it's like, if I show up weird, I can just call my therapist and be like, this happened, I think it's this, what do you think? And we can have a great conversation about it. They're like, Marvin, get back to these practices. And a lot of it is about, when you have an experience, what do you make that mean? Not everything is racism, not everything is sexism, not everything is anti-you. Some things are not even including you, right? And I think like, it's really important that you find healthy language in a voice to process things that happen, and the difference between, is it you or is it just a happening, right? And when I went, I sat down with a coach and they said that, like, is it a happening or did it happen to you? And I was like, what you mean, man? Like, it happened to me because, and I was walking from school and this racist person, and they were like, yeah, but if you swap you with another black boy, would that same incident happen to that person? I was like, well, probably actually. Like, yeah, it would. So it's not about me. It's not my inner world that's under attack, right? And so it's not to dismiss anything, but it's about a healthy perspective about what's real and what's not. I don't think a lot of people have that. I also think a lot of black people are neurodivergent. When I mean a lot, I mean a lot. And we dismiss how neurodivergent our community is, specifically men, and how it shows up. People will say that men's rage is just rage. It's not just rage. If you know anything about ADHD, I can tell the difference between an ADHD rage fit versus like an angered man.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it's ADHD related. This is not about excuse. But if you don't know you have it, you don't even attempt to employ any tools
That's
to
very true.
navigate that feeling. You just used to pushing through. And then everyone around you is the consequence of that feeling. So when I found out I was ADHD, I was like, I need tools.
Yeah.
Because I used to think, first I went from like self-loathing and like, what's going on for me? Why do I have these experiences with people that feel mad to me? But everyone's like, that's just normal.
Yeah.
That's not normal. Like the way people talk to each other, the way people like lie and manipulate and all those kind of things, it took me ages. Then I went to a place of being really high performing and high achieving in my job. And I was like, I must be a genius because I'm the only one that can do these things, right? And then at one point you're like, that probably isn't true either. Any story about yourself that's too good, right, is full of shit. So then I get to that place and I just sat there and I couldn't figure it out until somebody invited me to consider it. As soon as they said it, I knew. As soon as I read it, I definitely knew. When I went to get diagnosed, the whole process of me getting diagnosed was the most ADHD neurospicy experience ever. The psychiatrist was just like, look, I can tell by how this has happened that what the answer is. I want to go through the process with you anyway. But look, the most important thing for you is tools. It's not an excuse. It's not an escape. It's not a reason to avoid. But we talk about it as if like, no, everyone's ADHD now. That's a mad dismissive thing to say.
Yeah.
And the people that are probably the most hatred of it are probably ADHD themselves. So I think it's really important that we reconcile, if our mind doesn't work the same as everybody else's, applying those rules, neurotypical rules to neurodivergent people is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. And it's a slight adjustment. It's increased awareness. It's lots of tools that are not harmful to you or to anybody. And then life makes sense.
I think also people don't know how to be diagnosed. There's a lot of self-diagnosis that goes on, but actually being clinically diagnosed. That doesn't happen a lot. How do people go about doing that? Because I know a few people who are absolutely ADHD, have ADHD, but they are struggling to actually go and be diagnosed.
Yeah, look, I think
and to be given the tools.
Yeah, there's an NHS route, there's a private route. And
Yeah.
depending on your resources and your urgency, pick one that works. If you're going through the NHS route, you start with your GP, do not relent.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I think a lot of black people will go into those environments and they trust the word of like, oh, are you sure? Maybe. And also at the other time is that a lot of people don't want statistics to increase in a particular area too much because it requires, money must follow.
Yeah,
If
for real.
they say it's like 1 in 7, it's probably 1 in 4. If 1 in 4 are neurodivergent, then in reality, you got to now fund,
fix some stuff.
investigate,
Yeah.
you got to change
Yeah.
forms on
Yeah,
websites.
yeah.
It comes with an expense. So the whole part of negging ADHD is also about money and capitalism and funding. But you have to also understand, like, your gift as an ADHD person is so powerful. There aren't many people who can do the things that any ADHD people can do, ADD people can do. And you have to really honor the gift alongside the challenges that it creates. And not enough people do that, right? They want to try and take the good bits and ignore the bad bits and hope that they get through. You will keep on imploding your life that you build every time if you're not willing to face the fullness of who you are. That is the only privilege that I have afforded myself of my own fruition, is to not only find out, but to find the tools, get support, and enroll my whole family on how I show up and why.
Yeah.
Because even
See,
they had
that's what I
questions. They were
think-
like, I don't get it.
But that's what I think is important because a friend of mine was diagnosed very late in life. And as soon as she was diagnosed, I was like, I get it. And it made so much sense. And then when she explained the things that she needs in order to, it made so much sense. And I was able, that's what I was saying to someone that I know, go and get diagnosed, because I really believe that your interaction with people and the people around you will treat you so differently because they'll have the tools and they'll understand what you need.
Yeah.
I do think it's very important for people to try their best to get diagnosed.
And look, my thing to individuals at home, because obviously there's an audience, right? Nobody is avoiding accountability by saying I'm ADHD, so therefore I did this and I didn't understand. It's really about an invitation to improve your life. And the other side is dope. I love my life so much more now than I did 10 years ago. Like, I don't recognize myself 10 years ago compared to today. And I really, really wish I knew as a child. I think I mourned, a part of it was mourning, why did nobody know this when I was 5, 6, 7?
Yeah.
Why was no one able to spot this? Why was this not a conversation, right? I've been showing up in a particular way over a long period of time, and I mourned that, right? And again, I talked about earlier about protection. It's not just that young black women aren't protected, young black boys aren't protected either, right?
Yeah.
And you get called a monster
Yeah.
for the way you express yourself, your bigness, your joy, your happiness, your overwhelming combustion of feeling, and that's never, ever honored. So there is a mourning that goes into that process, and it is difficult, but it's not as bad as the constant friction and clashing that you have now.
What's the one thing, I mean, just because we could go on about this forever, but what's the one thing or things that a man or a boy can do to not suppress how they're feeling or not feel comfortable with suppressing how they're feeling? I don't even know if that's because I feel like that's something that I've heard men and boys say in a way that, or I feel like they're hiding so much of themselves because they have to show up in the world, or how they think they have to show up in the world. So what is something they can do to free themselves of that responsibility?
Well, look, I think talking to professionals, rather than be like something's wrong, I'm talking to a professional, I think it's about talking to skilled people who can see and hear the themes that you're communicating and help you order your thoughts. So if you don't have a wellness team, I have a wellness team. I don't operate this world on my own. And I always advocate people to slowly build theirs over time. Find people who are professionally skilled in aiding your thoughts and your processing. And I think beyond that is you need a crew. You need people who are in close proximity that you can share things with to break down some of the experiences that you're having.
I have a person in mind in particular who's like, only I can fix it. How do you reach out to someone like that, especially a man?
Look, I think it's really common for men to believe that their way of thinking is the way and they don't need any help. Again, it's fear, right? And so when you identify it as fear and not as just resistance and they don't care or they don't want to take your advice, you actually can approach it from a very loving place, right? The thing is, you just have to go with them. You got to take those steps with them. Don't just send them places and be like, yeah, go face your fears. Go on. You can do it. You're a man. Like, no, I'm coming with you. Like, I've called them. I'm coming. Let's go on Thursday, right? And I think breaking down some of those barriers into steps, breaking down those barriers into I'm not alone while I'm doing this is the powerful thing. So if you've got people in your life that loves you, I'm just like, I'm sorry if I go left, right? And I'm trying not to get emotional, but there's a lot of people who have people in their life who don't show up properly.
Yes.
There's a lot of it. And I don't really understand, why are we friends if when I'm in that hole, right? I'm a grown-ass man. Anything that happens to me big, I had an occurrence recently and my two closest friends turned up on my door. One day after another. They had coordinated and said, I can't get there today, but can you go? And I'm going to go tomorrow. And they just sat with me until like 2 a.m, right? And I sat there and I thought, that I'm so blessed. And I know a lot of people don't have that. But everywhere, like I love lots of people and I like lots of people, but I know when I'm falling, I've got somebody, right? And there isn't enough of that. So what's the point of being in someone's life if you're not going to be that? That's the part I don't get.
But also it's about, I guess, and this applies to everyone, but specifically for men, it's even knowing how you want to communicate, how you want to be, communicating how you want to be shown up for. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Like communicating that actually this is what I need for real, without feeling like you're exposing yourself, you're emasculating yourself by being vulnerable.
Look, a massive part of my transformation is just removing shame.
Yeah.
There's no part of me that can't be said out loud and I feel like I got to cover it and be ashamed of and get small and hide. And I've reconciled with it all. It was either a man of the time or it was my choice and it was wrong. I accept both ways, right? And I think shame does make a lot of men small.
Yeah.
Right? And I think I tied it earlier to being neurodivergent. I tied it earlier to sexuality. There was a lot of very narrow scopes that men have to live within when that just may not be your lived experience. And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn for the people that made me safe in this space, but I went to Black Pride and I used to go every single year, right?
Really?
And I'd go Black Pride with my community, my people, and I'd be like, we need to be here, right? Because they're us, right?
Yeah.
And I would run into people that I had no idea, right? And I felt like that was me being invited into their world. So I really honored it and protected it. And the amount of people who would turn up in an outer uniform, arrive, take it off, be this person, and then put it back on to get where they're going safe is a part of it, right? And there's many different versions of that experience. And I think we have to do it enough anyway within Blackness, but when we got to do it amongst ourselves, it's so destroying to observe that. And I think there's a lot of oppression within us, right? And we're using our tools to destroy the other person, to discredit the other person, to dishonor the other person so we can look strong. But real strong people don't need to do that, right? And because I can see that and I've been trained to see that, I really struggle when I observe it. For me, that's the coldest form of bullying, right? If I know I have the language to communicate myself and I know you don't, and I go out there and speak first and try to ruin your life because you've upset me, I think that's the coldest thing you can do. And I make it akin to physical violence because, and this is an area where, again, I think we don't do enough. We forgive and allow a lot of emotional abuse in exchange for like the hierarchy of abuses. We don't condemn it enough. We need to be really strong in how people are treating each other because it's dark what people are doing.
Yes.
Outing people for being down low and like talking about people's children, like posting people's children and family. Like these are not values that are of my time. So as I said earlier, or how I feel in this moment is this may be a time where like, it's not for me. Like it really isn't for me because when you really are trying to raise children, you're really trying to build real lasting systems for the world. What you can't get lost in is noise. And there's a lot. There's probably more than I can probably have capacity for at this time.
There's food for thought. Mental Health Awareness Week for men in particular. Some tips from Movember, website Movember, whoever needs to grow their moustache and solidarity of men. Stay connected, talk more, learn more, go to the doctor, get healthy. Agree with those tips? Men out there?
Definitely can
Go
shift
work
some
out.
bits. Yes, the working out is important.
It's such a winning formula.
Go to the doctor, don't be scared. All right.
There's a valid point you made about the NHS as well, though. I do feel like I'm trying to get an appointment at the moment. And the Groundhog Day in just trying to get an appointment once you start feeling better, it's really easy to just not do the
Yeah.
appointment anymore because it's like it took you so long.
Yeah, I
So
started
that's
doing
the
my
point.
medicals abroad, and they messaged me like their process of getting to the bottom of things and adverse results was so long. I just got on a flight, went to South Africa, paid for it to be private, spent a whole week going back and forth, getting everything tested, and it was so quick, so easy, so precise. And I was like, I've been going to the NHS for 8 months, and they have been like, oh, could you come back on Thursday and do this test?
But that's good advice, actually.
That is good advice.
Yeah. So John Lewis have an advert out at the moment. It's their Christmas ad. They bring a Christmas ad out every single year. This year, it features a father and son dynamic. So it's a white man and his son is looking sheepish, and the dad goes over, he picks up his present, and it's a vinyl, and he puts it on and it plays, and he goes back into a rave, and it's all really nostalgic. And I think it's for our generation. Like, we can all place ourselves and be like, oh my God, my kid sees me. Dapper Laughs is out here on TikTok, and he's put out a response to it, a reaction.
Have you seen the new John Lewis advert? I'm going to show you it. And I can't believe I've just watched a Christmas advert that I can relate to. No woke nonsense. It actually brought me to tears. I don't mind admitting it. I fully cried. It's receiving a lot of criticism, mainly from women in the comments that are upset about it, saying it's not Christmassy and they don't get it. There's a deep message in it. And I'm going to try and explain what it truly means and why it is so important for the men that you love. People like me are rarely represented in adverts or appreciated in the media and sometimes in life.
Because we're not represented. And I immediately, it got my back up. I was like, absolutely, I hate this. This was a moment for our generation. Like, you didn't need to bring race into it or anything. I wasn't watching it thinking of a white man.
Okay.
I was really watching a generational moment. Like, we're middle-aged. So, you know, it's like, oh, this speaks to me. And I hated that there were so many other white men being like, yeah, because we're not seen. And it's like, I just don't believe that's true. This is how I was taking it. What do you guys think? Is it a moment in time? Have John Lewis just jumped on this whole white men feeling like they are not seen in any way and this is why they've done this? Am I reading it wrong? Is he out of order? What do you think?
Well, I think a mark of a good ad is one that is not necessarily, it's timeless and it's raceless, right?
Yeah.
If you put a black person there, maybe the music would have changed, but the essence would have continued. So it's a great ad. I think Dapper Laughs is quite an empty, vacuous content creator, and he's been very opportunistic for most of his career, and he's
that is true.
struggled to hold affinity on a long-term basis.
Yeah.
And so I think for him, this is just a part of performing to an audience that he think he can build affinity to. Transactional people, I don't feel there's much to say because their value system isn't centered, right? It moves with whatever needs to be, and he's done that for many years. I think like white men feeling like they're not being seen, slightly disingenuous, but if you talk about recency bias, there's been a shift that hasn't included them. I was speaking to a group of DEI professionals recently, and I was like, look, I think a couple of things happened with the movement that we were working on from 2019 to now. And I think one of them is that we had no vision of white men in our movement, right? And as a consequence, when white men realized that there was definitely no seat at the table, they created their own table and they pulled the rug on everything. And they're locking people of color out. They're firing loads of black people from loads of different jobs who, I think Teen Vogue apparently don't have any black people in it anymore. Paramount, CBS did the same thing. Loads of businesses are just like doing redundancies, but they happen to be all the people of color. And I think like, because the movement lacked real strategy and leadership at a systemic level, it was lots of social fragmented moments that people just couldn't grasp, and they lost interest and thought, we need to stop this. Whether that's right or wrong is irrelevant, but that's my understanding of what I observed. And I think white men felt like in that time, they lost power, and also lost a bit of themselves. I think in whiteness, it's very different than us. They don't have community like we have it. I remember doing Dope Black Dads and white men being like, I wish I could join, because we don't have anything like this, right? Their inner world isn't forth and center. They don't have the grounding that we have coming from the global south. So I think a lot of the times their value is in achievement. It's in success. It's in being on TV. It's James Bond. It's transporting all of those values into characters and moments, and they don't have it there themselves. This is not an attack. It's a invitation that when I've spent time in men's circle with white men, they are searching for the depth. And the fact that we can provide it as black men is funny and interesting and ironic, right? And many of them are really open to being a part of stuff. They just don't get it. You have to understand it's generational for them. They just don't get it.
I didn't see the advert. I just quickly watched it now. And if that was the emotion I would get, if that was a black man, if the setting was black, the emotion I'd get of whatever you get from watching something that's an advert, ultimately, I would be emotionally connected to it. So if a white man is emotionally connected to it, I don't know who that Dapper last is either. I just don't know who he is. So I have no opinion about him. But him saying, the only thing I wanted to take out the woke shit, because diversity isn't about wokeness. You lot fucked up the word woke. Woke does not mean diversity. That's just you lot's bullshit, racist bullshit. But the fact, if you can't really step on people's feelings. And if that's a genuine feeling and he's not trying to stir up race, he's not trying to race bait, then if he genuinely was like, I feel seen, because I haven't been feeling seen, I'm more or less echoing what Marvin's saying, then I can't argue with him, I can't get annoyed, I can't be upset, because I don't live in the white man's world. And there is a lot of conversation in this turn of events, post-Obama, all of that stuff, when there was a outcry, which we do very well, we speak up for ourselves very well. Black people can speak up for themselves very well, whether it works or not, we do well in protesting and making sure people know that we are not being heard or seen. So in that movement, if you're feeling like, well, we've been left behind, and they do say that white boys are left behind in schools, working class white man is overlooked when it comes to kind of resources and funding and stuff like that. If you're feeling marginalized and left out, I can't argue with that. But you have to don't take that with the immigrants. Don't fucking go on a right-wing nationalist march. Take that with your politicians who are not handling society properly and aren't looking and really speaking to all the pockets of community that need their support in the right way. And also this divide and conquer, what they do, they use your whiteness against you. As much as you think they're doing it for you, they're using the all whiteness against you and then pitting the immigrants against you. So you then feel like everyone's attacking you as a white man, when it's not that. It's your government that's attacking everybody and using your insecurities against you. So I'm not mad at him for feeling like that. I'm mad at him using the word woke, because that's got nothing to fucking do with it.
Well, for me, the woke is the invitation part that tells me that it's not sincere. If he just said, I felt a sense of pride, I'd be like, no, that's dope. You should feel pride about your likeness being centered in a big moment. So I'd have been cool with that.
But I think people don't have the language. I don't want to give any excuses, but I just think the word woke pissed me off. If you feel emotionally attached to it, that's all good. And if you're talking about, I don't feel seen as a white man, and I think it's unfortunate that white people, because you lived in a world of supremacy and racism, it's very hard for you guys to talk about your issues, because you have dominated the world, and your people, the people that run the world, are in your likeness.
I just don't believe it.
I don't believe it. But I don't believe this white people feeling that they're not seen, because the majority of what we see is white people. That is not me saying that he's not allowed to feel like, okay, what I think is important is that he feels seen in a moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can feel seen in a moment, but I don't agree with this racially being seen thing. Because if you put on the television, if you watch the ads, if you open a newspaper, a magazine, or whatever the fuck it is that you're going to do, white people are predominantly the people that are being seen, because we live in a Western world. So I disagree with that. And what I hate is when you might have one ad with black people or people of colour in it, and it doesn't have any white people, and all of a sudden it's an uproar. Recently on Loose Women, they had a panel, an all-black panel. They've done it a couple of times, but they had an all-black panel on Loose Women. It was our favourites. It was Oti, it was Judy, it was Kelly, and it was, who was the other person? Charlene, thank you. And it was Charlene. So they had a panel of all black people. Now, the hate and the visceral that they get anytime that they do this is ridiculous, because it's like, oh, we're not being seen. But 90% of the time on Loose Women, it's fucking all white people. And no one says anything. So that's the part that annoys me. That don't say you're not being seen, just say it makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, but
just be honest.
I think additional language is being added at the moment in terms of what whiteness describes itself as being English first and foremost as an ethnicity, and being Christian, as a dominant religion. Sorry.
Yeah.
And they're being clear about what they see as us versus everybody else. They say, no, you're British.
Yeah.
Right. You're from the
Or
Commonwealth.
they
British
say we're
national.
not British.
Well, look,
That's something that
I
happens
think,
all the time.
I think trying to make Englishness a pure white Anglo-Saxon
Yeah.
Christian
Yeah.
movement is what they're perpetuating.
Yeah.
And again, this is why I call him a grifter very specifically, because he's mirroring the tones of a reform MP,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Rather than a genuine original thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so because of that, it's disingenuous, and it's about angling for power and exclusion of power. So I don't need to internalize that much deeper than my awareness that is happening. But I do think what's really important that there are genuine white men who have never considered themselves outside of the center of society.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
I can sit there and simplify it and be like, well, that's white privilege. But if you've never had it, the moment you lose it, it feels violent to you.
Yeah.
Right?
And I
think
understand
that's
that,
what
but
it
that's
is.
white
Yeah.
supremacy, though,
Yeah,
isn't
that's-
it?
yeah,
that's the problem.
It is,
That
but
part of
white
the
people
problem.
are the consequence of white supremacy also. They're not
Yes.
always willing
That's what I was
participants.
saying. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no,
So you have to-
yeah,
I think
100%.
to understand, like, for 600 years, they have been told that we're going
the
to the
best.
rest of the world
Yeah.
Yeah.
to civilize it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we're going to bring these
Yeah.
things back to help them become real civilized. And then we all turn up here being like, oh, we came from this thing. Actually, our situation is better than yours. We probably shouldn't have come, but too embarrassed to go home. Now we're here 3 generations in. They're like, we don't want you here, right? We fought the wars. We've gone and rebuilt our country.
Thank you very much. Now,
We don't
goodbye.
want you here.
Yeah.
And so there's a part of me that's like, I think sometimes understanding the invitation is ended. I'm going to be very clear when I say this, right? I'm not advocating for anyone to do anything, but I'm listening,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's important that as a part of observing whatever the movement is I question myself is like, where do I want to be? Right? Do I want to wake up every day, turn my TV on and be affronted with this otherness in such intense anger?
Yes.
Yeah.
But then I look at the resources of the environment that I'm trying to safeguard, and I don't think it's fitting of my skill set.
Yeah.
I don't have any big vision of what I could do for Britain, because I think Britain is incomplete at this point in time. Is it my job to fix it? Can I fix it? I don't know. So I think as they fight for their land, maybe the benefit is that they get it.
And,
Maybe.
I
I don't know.
Have at
we've
it.
spoken about
Have
that.
at it.
Yeah.
We've
we
literally
have.
spoken about. We have said, have at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. and I do encourage people to definitely have an escape plan.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's,
Invest in
I think we have
the
to.
homeland.
Prudent.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
word. It's prudent
Yeah.
to truly be thinking and have those conversations within like groupings as well, because it's like you don't have to be solo going. We could be like, where do we want to go? Where do we want to all live? Like, we can do it in community.
And I think it's that part as well, Nana. I think you're onto something there, because when we think about going home or investing in wherever it is, we're still very doing it in silence.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing that. What we should be doing is looking at each other as a community and saying, okay, well, how can we invest in this? You know, like back in the day, like someone wanted to buy a house, everyone would help them, like you chip in
a
or
partner
whatever.
run for house
Exactly,
buying.
exactly, all of that stuff.
Rent
It's
parties.
all, and we've spoken about the partner being a bit more accepted in communities, stuff like that.
and where you
That's
want
the
to
only
where
way
you
we're
want to
gonna
go
do it.
and live. But I hear you. I do think it is that moving of the center of the world, like the
Yeah.
eye being on the whiteness, and there being a little bit of inclusivity, and that throwing a whole load of people off.
Basically.
But
That annoys me though, when it's like, I liked seeing the black family, and I know white people that enjoyed seeing the black family
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
I hate that we're in this space now where if there's any whiteness, it's like championed, like, hey, because we've never been on TV.
Right.
It's like the last 3 years, the adverts have had white people in.
The reason why it's not bothering me is because like I actually understand. I think I'm just like, of course you feel some way. Of course you do, and I'd feel the same way if I was you. So there's what can I do?
you know what they've
And
done
also
to us
when
as
it
well,
comes
isn't
to when it comes to these adverts, like I would rather it be an all-white advert and have some authenticity to that situation than throwing in a black, because I get mad when you throw in a black man or a black woman and then they're surrounded by these mediocre looking white people and that's their friendship gang or their family unit. It's like that's not even a real dynamic. And when they were complaining about Sex and the City being too white, I was like, I actually like Sex and the City being that, because the minute they started to get woke and diverse, they made so many missteps with their language, with the dialogue, and it just looked
They just
tokenistic.
throw in a little-
And it was all wrong. They got backlash for it.
Just let friends be friends.
when they
innit?
tr-
But
when-
even,
yeah.
it's
Let
what,
friends be friends.
Even Friends did it as well. Like
Yeah.
they put the black girl and it was like,
Asha Tyler and Gabrielle
did you,
Union.
did,
Yeah.
yeah, it was
and
like,
then
really?
try to do
Really?
it. It just gets shoehorned in. I'm not advocating for all white shows all day, every long. But if you're going to do it properly. If you're not going to do
Authentically.
it, just leave it as it is. That advert was. I watched it on silent. I saw the emotion. I can see why it's emotional. Leave it at that. You keep
I think it's a great ad. Well done to John Lewis.
I
And
think so.
I think if white men feel displaced by that advert and it brings something up for them, I think it's a great invitation to dig deeper as to why that is and what that means.
Yeah,
right?
that's it. More like that.
I think going on that journey, and I think more white people got exposed to what the more holistic part of life is, that they probably have been missing generationally. And TikTok is doing the same. I don't know if you ever listened when white people find like how to shower from black women.
Yes.
It's brilliant.
The butters, they put some shea butter.
They're finding a whole world. Do you know what's really beautiful? There's a creator called Anne Russell, this like old white lady. She's amazing. Like she's always talking about like household cleaning and stuff. I'm gonna actually show you. She's gonna come and do my podcast, right? And I was just looking at all of her stuff, and I was like, I feel like I know you. Like, and the thing is, I grew up around working class white people. I feel like a kinship with them and just their everydayness. Like I feel like that's been lost a little bit. I did a video saying I missed the working class white person a little bit because I think they still don't know how to connect with us. They've just been so busy apologizing for existing that they just don't just be themselves. And I love the good Essex, like, oh, what's this about? I don't get it, but you know, do your thing, whatever, good luck, boom, bam. I miss that.
That's quite interesting that you said that because I think that, especially if you're growing up in an estate, DI, woke, race, all that goes out the window. Yeah, you might have a little bit of nuances, but when we're all mucking in together, the power cut's gone, the whole block's dark.
Yeah, can I borrow a candle?
Can I do this and do that? The other day when our blender broke at Christmas, I was knocking everyone's door, the Asians, the whites, the Arabs, or everything, like, who's got a fucking blender? No one did, actually.
But this is what's
So
quite
strange.
funny about, like, and I think that's why we say sometimes that the Tommies of the world don't really represent the people,
the real
like everybody, because I think we've all, from what we're saying, is been fortunate enough to grow up in quite diverse communities, like, and as you said, like my neighbours, they're white, they're black, they're Muslim, they're Christian, they're Arab, they're all different types of people, and I've always had that, and like we celebrate each other. So and even going to school, there's been a diversity that I've grown up with. So I haven't had that. So it is always heartbreaking when I hear people say, "No, it doesn't represent these countries and these people coming in. It doesn't represent our country." And I'm like, well, which community is this?
Yeah, but let's just hug a white person, man. Let's just like try and get on with it.
I go
No, like listen,
It
some of
depends
them,
on the white person.
some of them just need an embrace. Like, come, man. Like, what's going on?
Okay,
Like,
I think black people be discerning.
No, what I
That starts to be
think-
black people therapy. And
no.
we're not here
It's
for
not.
that.
It's not black people therapy. It's community, right? As you said,
Okay.
I grew up in a state where it's 78% white people, right?
Yeah.
And no matter what they're bleating on about, right? If you just go to them and be like, come and let's go do this, they're down, right? Let's go to the pub, let's go in there. Building community and breaking the communication lines is not therapy, right? My neighbor brought me food on Eid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I get.
He turned
Yeah.
up my door. He said, look, I've seen you lift a couple of times. Me and my wife decided to make you guys some food. We just wanted to introduce ourselves properly, say hello. And I sat there and I was like, wow. You know, because people knock your door, you're like, why you knock my door? I'm like, if you knock my door, you better be a bill collector or something. Because, so I'm going into my negging and I'm just like, actually, that was a profound moment for me. And he broke a communication line that just didn't exist. And I'm saying, break the communication line. 9 times out of 10, a lot of it is just because there's no proximity, right? There are some
100%.
genuine
There is
hateful
that,
people.
definitely.
The everyday person, especially Londoners,
But
especially
that's why he's
Londoners,
taking the piss.
bruv, go knock for
Absolutely.
your neighbour and say, well, go on, bro.
Exactly. But can I say something? I watched, I think it was Question Time recently, and they were in, I don't know, some small community. And yeah, somewhere quite small, like small town. And they there was an MP on there who's basically saying, you know, it doesn't represent us and there's too many immigrants here and all that. And everybody who was in the audience were white, right? Let's say 98% of them were white. And all of them were from the area, had grown up and left and gone back on all of these things. And what I really loved about that was every single person was like, you don't represent us. You don't know what you're talking
Yes,
about.
that person.
And all of them were saying this. You don't know what you're talking about. I celebrate the immigrants. This is an absolutely diverse, amazing community. You do not represent us. Do not come back here with this tribe, basically. And I think it's important for people who live amongst others, in inverted commas, to actually say this.
Yeah.
Because that rhetoric doesn't get out enough.
Yes.
The white
That's
people
real,
need to
true.
come and get their people when they are doing crazy things,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I do think, and by the way, a lot of media representation of that view is busting funded, paid for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of them
Yeah.
are young counsellors from wherever. They go intentionally cast for those sorts of shows. They call into those shows,
Yeah.
make their complaints to make them sound bigger than they are. They've been doing it for the longest time ever, right? And the same faces and voices do it. What I'm saying is at some point, if you come plug yourself out of the internet and go to your neighbor and be like, what's up? You're right. They'll have the best chat with you ever. They'll talk to you. They'll invite you in. They'll tell you all sorts of things, right? But understand, like, we've always had a boundary to that connection. It's never been a full-on loving sitting, right?
Yeah.
But there is a line that we can close, right? And we can do some of it, and they will do some of it. But I think they're also being poisoned through some of the ideas that are being
100%.
circulated.
Yeah.
And also understand this, right? Whenever their agenda is being pushed, whether it be Brexit, for example, we're all sitting there being like, who's voting for that?
Yeah.
And then it happens and we're like, what?
Who voted?
Who voted for that?
So rather
Exactly.
than going around and telling everyone that they're racist every single day, I'd rather focus on the actual people who will move the needle for me. Like, I'm more intended to invite people into a space than I am to just call out random racists who are, most of them are hired idiots, right? Most of them are paid to have that opinion on platforms all the time.
Yeah.
It's
I
for
work with
more
them, sorry.
people to understand that though as well, because I do think a lot of people feed into it. The more they hear it, especially somebody as popular as Dapper, it then becomes like, this is how, and he is a Londoner.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I know you have black friends. I've literally seen it. Like, it's always the no one's seeing us
But he's
type
been
of thing.
cancelled 4 times for his stupidity. He's
I don't know
idiot.
this guy. I really have never.
Me
Hon-
neither.
Honestly, if you go back to his career from the last 12 years, the amount of times he's almost lost everything. He was being, there's an amazing journalist called Abigail, I can't remember her last name, who outed him for some of his content that he did, and he lost everything, right?
Yeah.
And he's been on the fringes for a while, and now this is his latest grift.
Oh, so now he's trying to.
He's just a grifter, right?
Okay.
I don't dismiss genuine white males' concerns about things, but when you're an employed grifter, I don't have time
Yeah,
to
fair.
respond to you. And there's a lot of them, and they're in media, and they're paid to have
This
opinions.
is it. And it's
that
like they're
don't
coming
hold
out of
in
the
person.
woodworks, like slowly finding and
An
people-
angle.
Yeah, it's just annoying. Pisses me off.
Zahon Mahadami has won
Yep.
the mayoral election in New York.
Yep.
He is the
Big up,
youngest
mister.
mayor of New York ever, and he is the first Muslim mayor. And he beat out Andrew Cuomo
Cuomo.
and some other person whose name I forget.
Silver.
And these people had been given millions by a whole range of people who wanted to make sure that Zahon never was elected. So my enemy is 50 Cent.
What did he do?
What did 50 Cent do?
50 Cent
Yapping.
posted a picture of a tombstone and it said, New York, born in 1685 or whatever it was, died 2025.
Oh,
Mate.
50.
I know. And you know I love 50. And you know I've got all the time for 50 usually. But no 50. Just no. You're my enemy because Zahon has, what he's been elected for is like New York first. And he wants to make sure that the funds stay in New York rather than go to politicians who make all this money, and then there's lack of housing, lack of education, lack of healthcare, all of these things. So he's been elected by people who want to see a real change in New York. And I would have hoped that 50 could have seen that. But obviously not, because he's tied with a lot of these people who are making money, and it's just really upset me. And I'd like to bring him here. Also, I'm bringing all the enemies of the people that voted against Zahon, but 50's my enemy.
Yeah, there's a lot of naysayers about Mr. Zahon, but he's won, and he won with a major landslide.
He did.
He's promised a lot, so let's see if he's going to get a lot. Trump's an enemy because he said he's going to withdraw funding from New York if
He did.
Mahadami wins, and so let's see what happens. But yeah, all the capitalists and the people that get rich by getting richer and richer and richer, they're going to be anti, because he's anti as the rich elite class. He's anti that. He's for the people. So that's the campaign he ran on.
Yeah, I mean, what I want people to bear in mind is that when people run campaigns, they have the best intention to make sure that everything gets done, but it's not that easy. So I just want people to give him a little bit of grace.
We'll see.
We won't be able to do a large part of it. but,
Exactly.
yeah, I feel like there is a fear within rich circles that poor people will come and get them, right? Because
Yeah,
there's
they're
a lot of
waiting.
harm that's done with the level of equality that exists in the world.
Yeah.
And the fear is that there'll be an uprising and they will lose all their things. So people don't underestimate the level of intensity of that fear. So they think it's like rich people are just sitting on a boat, happy in a yacht, dancing and singing in their socks. They really are concerned with is what information is being passed around and who is being popularized. A democratic socialist being the mayor of New York is a statement piece.
Yes.
Also, what people don't talk about is the governors of Virginia and New Jersey are liberal white women right
Yeah,
now.
they're
right?
Democrats now, yeah.
And even beyond that, California has engaged in, I think it's called Prop 50, which is about redrawing the lines of California to become even more democratic.
Yeah.
Finally, the left are operating in power plays.
Like proper.
The biggest frustration with the left is that it loses so often.
Yeah,
right?
and they're
it's
so
fact-based,
lily-livered.
science-based, evidence-based,
Yeah.
but you lose all the time.
Yeah.
And there's no story of the left, right? There's lots of like facts and like, yeah, but actually 72% of all money goes to, it's like, no one gives a shit. Like, how do you make people feel?
Yeah.
And you've got these populist right-wing characters who are just vibing out. And what they do, the right-wing, is they send their dumbest soldiers out in the world to say the most egregious thing, right? And set the tone. The Overton window has been moved. And so you do get Dapper Laughs, Tommy Robinson, Katie Hopkins, all of the ones they get paid to have these opinions, right? They're funded. And then when they burn out, they're just discarded and they get new ones that are like 27, right?
Yeah.
The latest one in the US is this blonde lady who was like Hot Girls for Cuomo. She tried to create a movement for like Hot Girls for Cuomo, even though he's like sexually assaulted and harassed a whole bunch of women.
Exactly.
So what's so funny is that she didn't buy the URL for the Hot Girls for Cuomo, and someone bought it and put his charges on the URL. Genius, right? But I think like the right have been planning for a very long time, very sophisticated, and the left haven't been planning. They've been trying to be good people, well behaved, following the rules,
Whilst
and as a
being
result,
bad people
they've
breaking the
lost.
rules as well.
They've lost so much, and the idea of doing some directional things was really great to see. Mum Downey won't be able to do everything he said, but I think he'll make people feel better.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest.
Feel better.
I
He'll
that's-
make people feel seen.
That's all I'm seeing is hope.
It's good.
And I don't know. We had Obama and hope. I need to see what he does.
Yeah.
And realistically, is he going to follow through on taxes? I understand why 50 is doing his RIP
He's been
thing.
rich longer than he's been poor, man.
Yeah, because he's got to pay more. But
But he's not.
I
He
don't
doesn't even
understand
live
it.
there.
I think he still has a sizable amount of
interests.
businesses.
Of course he has
so
interest
he
there,
has to.
but it's,
And
you know.
I think it's fair. I was watching some dude the other day, a British guy, and he has a few properties, and he was talking about taxes and everything as well. And I was like, when people say like tax wealth and not work, they are not talking about you as an upper middle class person with a few properties. That's not
But they
what
see it
people
as
are really
a
talking
regression. It's a regression tax. It then trickles down into what else can we tax, right?
Yeah.
When it doesn't raise enough. I think the balance is too extreme in one way and the other. I think we can find a balanced and fairer system. I think the Democratic Socialists need to withdraw from Labour Party and from even the Green Party and even the Democratic Party. They need to find their own space, their own voice, right?
Yeah.
Because Democratic Socialism is the balance between the two ideas. Labour have gone full on
Well, they're just
Right-wing.
conservative.
right centre.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, look, I understand it more than maybe others do, but I don't want to go into that right now because I think it's just going to take up a lot of time. But I do think Democrat Socialists, which is probably more aligned to my values, need their own home
Yeah.
where we can say we're more left centre. We understand capitalism is the system of choice, but we want responsible funding of our public services.
Yeah. And that's
We
all.
want people to be able to move from working class to middle class to upper middle class, and we want that to happen in a way that is timely and expedient, right? I just think at the moment, the amount of wealth that's been extracted out and people can't get funding,
Yeah.
people
It's
are
wild.
growing,
It's
businesses
wild
are
at this
closing
point.
down left, right and centre. Like it's really, really concerning, right? The London Stock Exchange hasn't floated a business in a while.
Yeah.
They're not raising money through the London Stock Exchange at the
yeah.
moment.
And
So
they're
you worry about
self-employing
those things,
themselves.
right? Your individual value, what people who are investing individually aren't able to do so because the big stocks are not going on open market. They're being traded amongst other trillionaires.
Precisely.
Which is excluding
Yeah,
the
exactly.
everyday
Very
person
true.
Everything's
from
just becoming
the wealth
insular.
growth.
All the big companies are eating each other up.
Yes.
And we're just having like dominant
Well, they'll own everything.
Yes.
Now, what's-
And then it is going to be
Yeah.
kill the rich.
Yeah.
Like, it
We're
is
going
like
to move
the-
into an oligarchy very, very soon.
Yeah.
And the only stop for it are the people like Zach Polanski and other people like Mamdani who are trying to do something radical, but they have to complete their plan. They need more power and they need separation from the existing powers because in the US context, Democrats just want corporations to lead the way and Republicans want individual rich people to lead the way.
Yeah.
These are not two opposing systems.
No,
It's
it's
two
the
ways to the
same
same
Yeah.
thing. So
you need a new wave. A new
That's why I
generation.
don't trust him to like seeing people celebrating everything. I'm like, do you actually know what you're celebrating?
Yeah,
Truly,
that's the
you're
point.
But what we are
celebrating for a
doing-
system. It's just another head.
we are delaying, I don't want to call it the inevitable, we're delaying what is happening, right? The rate in which Trump is making change in these 2 terms, by the way, with a 4-year gap, Democrats didn't repeal
At
half
all.
the things that Trump put in
Yeah.
place in his first term. And so I'm saying it's performative padding.
This is
I'm
it.
probably more frustrated with Democrats and Labour than I am with who,
Yeah,
people
'cause-
who are
yeah,
in
no,
the
I
way.
think we expected
100%.
that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
What they need to do now is
Radical.
work on undoing or pushing back on the things that have been introduced by
Sweeping
Trump
changes.
and just do that because it might not be evident in the outwardly, it might not be outwardly evident for the time, but just get those laws fixed where there were loopholes and things that were left open for Trump to be able to do what he's doing. People that
For him
are,
to
But they're
even
not
get there
doing
again.
that. So that
No, I'm saying that
actually
that's what
suggests-
needs to be done.
If you think
That's
of,
what
if
needs
you
to be
think of
done.
Labour now, like who we have in now, they are not for any working class.
No,
people.
that's the thing.
Like, so
Yeah.
it's like you do need a whole other. I don't even know if it's your party actually, as I'm following
Yeah,
them.
I don't
I don't
know
even know
either.
if it's you guys, but we need something else.
Yeah, something else. Yeah,
We need a whole other, and
But
it's
that
not
Democrat-
the Greens either. Maybe the Greens could be absorbed into something else. I don't know, but we do need a whole other system.
but it's like, excuse
that we
me.
can follow through on, and it's definitely not Labour because you're not in opposition.
No, it's a democratic socialist. It's that other nuanced group of people that are the Bernies and the Mamdanis and the
Bernie.
Corbyns if he kind of figures
Old
itself
Corbyn.
out.
I think sometimes we have to reconcile with what Britain as a vehicle is and its role in the global stage is and what services it can genuinely provide to its citizens. I think what it is has been a bank for the world for
Yeah.
a very long time.
Yes.
It's a stable economy to hold a lot of money, right? Some of it is bad money, but a lot of it is just
Yeah.
money. And keeping British people placid to facilitate the movement of that money is the big mission, right? London equates for an absurd amount of the national GDP of the country. And so I do feel like we have to understand what the beast is. And it's not always personal against us. And I think we were kind of alluding to David Lammy earlier. And I'm like, when you are a deputy leader of this country, there are fundamental things that you have to align with that are bigger than any individual. You're not unpacking them because you're black or because you're working class or because you're a woman, because they continue, right? There's a reason why when we talk about the value of diversity and having women in power, what that could create is a different perspective to leadership. The 2 women who have run the country have been fundamental continuances of everything else that's gone on around. They've done nothing different, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's their right, but at the same time, I feel like the vehicle dictates the leader, not the leader doesn't dictate the vehicle.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Definitely.
They're not really in control of everything.
So I try to
just
be at peace
hope-
with it all.
I feel like that's what people get hopeful about, where I'm always like, absolutely not. Like when everybody was going for, oh, Kamala's like the great hope, and it's like she ain't changing shit.
Yeah.
And then, we were getting all of the trolls in the comments like, how can you say that she's a black woman? You should support her. And it's literally like, please. That's how I feel about politics. It's like, realistically, if you are for society, this probably isn't the place for you to be. Because waiting for the government to actually really truly care about the people, that is not going to happen. So then what do? You try and go somewhere else.
But I think the first thing, especially black people in these environments, right? You want to create soft power in different places. For me, it's like getting involved in the system as a black person is of value. but the goal is not necessarily to transform it. It's if you believe working inside the system is your value system, that's what you're doing. I think if you don't believe that, then you create socialist movements outside the system and you operate in there. We need thin layers of both of those things happening at the same time. And that's why I say for David Lammy, he's not a black savior to black people in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But for him to be in that position, for the context of what the country is actually insane. Like,
why?
To be that high up in office as a black man in any guise is insane, right? As I said to you, a lot of the roles in government are performative roles. You're not transforming what Britain is. Nobody.
So then why
is.
is his blackness doesn't really matter then?
Exactly, but I'm saying to still get there is still incredibly difficult. The fact that it hasn't been done before.
Yeah, but that's because
and by the way, I'm not saying you have to celebrate him, you have to dance in the rain before him and bow down or anything. I'm just saying the office, whether he's there or someone is there, Britain is doing what Britain is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah? I'm saying it's still crazy that he's even got there though. Because they don't need to put him in place to run that ship as it's running. To have Shabana Mahmood as Home Office is crazy in this 2025, where Islamophobia is through the roof, anti-blackness is through the roof. For them to be standing there, right? And sometimes I feel like there's a power in blackness holding space and being visually present, rather than transforming every single moment of every single day. Obama has no ability to transform the machine of America.
But I think with those people that you've named, those British people that you've named, they're not there because they're trying to make change for their people. They're there for self, and they're also there to be the ones that are like, well, if they agree with it, then it's okay. That's what I get off the David Lammys and people like that.
That's their value system, right?
Yeah.
Their value system is to participate within the system that already exists.
And I think that sometimes in those systems, they bring people that look like us but aren't like us in order to justify what they're doing.
Look, that may be a strategy, but in 2025, that's not the play. The play is get a whole bunch of white men to run this country and perpetuate the same things.
They're still running it though.
But that would quell the noise significantly. Going out and getting Shabana Mahmood to be Home Office is incredibly triggering to the far right. That's an intention.
Not if it's
So
intention.
it's an intention. So
Yeah.
All right, so
if
I'm saying to you, right, you're Keir Starmer, right, and the tone is the tone. Who are you picking to quell the tone and save your job to navigate? It's not those two people.
But my point is...
No, but they serve a purpose.
Exactly.
They serve a purpose.
They're serving
What
a
purpose do they serve?
So they serve
Because we
a
don't
purpose.
believe.
No,
But we don't. We're not the audience.
Yeah.
No, but who's the audience?
We're not the audience.
I feel like the purpose, it's to agitate. Like it's actually just using the polls. So it would be easy to
what
have
purpose?
white people that's the purpose. It's to agitate. It is that you agitate us, you agitate white people, it's to agitate.
Why is
but
Keir
they are
Starmer
fulfilling
agitating people of colour and white people at the same time?
because you
what does
need
that serve?
its energy.
What does it serve?
It serves.
But it does serve a purpose because it serves a movement for white supremacy. It serves conversation. It's serving a purpose.
You believe
It
Keir
also-
is
not for us.
agitating for white
No, but what
supremacy?
it also
Of
does
course.
is, what it also does is it's a deflection. Because while you're arguing about this over here, you're not looking at what
do you
they're
buy
doing
it?
over there. But I'm not the audience. I'm not.
Who's the audience?
I'm not going to buy. I've got enough brain cells in my head to understand that I'm not going to buy this facade. But there are people out there who will see that and they'll.
Who's the
people
archetype?
that you just said.
No, but who's the archetype
I would
of
say
who's
that
buying
the
that and what are they
average-
getting from
the
it?
average person, I think, where we generally resist about having black people in spaces, I definitely understand being inside the system to understand it and fuck shit up. If you're not going to get inside the system and learn and fuck shit up, then what are you doing there? Because I think that's also dangerous, that being in that position as a visual card, like, yes, David Lammy's in this position of power and he's amazing, he's doing it. If you are day to day, you're not affecting change. And what I think you said earlier, that if I understand there's a limitation of what he can speak about, but if he's not making clear, like, this is what I'm doing for the people, he doesn't have to necessarily be specific about black people, but
Just
you can
people.
have an agenda like, okay, this is my lot, this is what I'm supposed to do as an MP, this is my agenda. Well, I know I've got to do 90% for the white man. There's this bit of community stuff and stuff that I know I'm not going to say blacks, but we know if we do this and if you're like, let's have parks open and cleaned and renovated and all the parks in South London are all done because under my thing, this is what I did. And you know that it's going to benefit the people. If you're not doing that and you're not open about that, being a black face or brown face or yellow face in that position, it means nothing. I think it's dangerous.
Yeah.
But my point is, nobody's happy. Nobody feels like any part of Britain has been developed appropriately for them, right?
Sure.
So it's not working for anybody.
Sure.
What I'm saying is that if you believe you're inside the system, and by the way, our elders, if we said that we had got to his office, would have been like, oh, my baby.
Of course they would have.
So for a generation of people, that has an intrinsic meaning beyond anything that any of us are present to or care about. Let's say, I don't care about it, but people care about it. That is what the purpose is. It doesn't, I'm saying, my other option, which we haven't explored, right, is we're about to be creating socialist systems as a layer on top of the chaos, right? A place where you can go and buy a bag of rice and split it between 20, or I can be like, my kids, I can't get them, can you pick them up from school? We haven't even done that, right? So we're asking from a state that we don't fund, right? And we're asking for support in a way that we don't commune ourselves in this country. So I'm saying the fragmentation is so big and deep that we are miles behind. Every community funds politics apart from us.
Yeah,
we
so then
ask
having
the
a
most.
person then having a person that looks like us in a position, in the system, that can't do anything, but it's just a...
Well, it's not that he even wants to. What has David Lammy shown us that he is for our community and he hasn't. He's upholding the system.
Yeah, but if he can't, then
But I don't believe.
Again, but he is a black man is a human being believing that why are you there? He exists. He exists to serve his own interests as a black man, and he has the right to do it.
That's the part,
I'm saying none of us are buying into it as a signal of like anything other than why are you there? What I'm saying is the counter also isn't happening. Right? So as a result, that is our responsibility.
The counter to him being there is, explain that to me again.
Build your own systems locally. Even if it's 50 people in a WhatsApp group, that's a system. I'm going to look after your kids. I'm going to help you buy a washing machine. I'm going to loan you £50, but only £55 back. This is happening in other communities in a way, right? So for me to sit there and complain about the government, right? And say, you're not doing this, you ain't serving us, you're not doing that, is the easiest thing to do is to look, as an opposition, to look at something and be like, that's rubbish, that's rubbish, that's rubbish, that's rubbish. As you guys have built something, you understand when you built something, it's hard, right? That is the work, that is the focus. Don't be sitting there talking about who's voting and who's done what and who hasn't given us this. Build your own.
I think that's a separate argument. I think
No. It is
I think
the
you can
only
say that.
argument.
No. I'm saying it's separate from what we're saying about, because that's what we're talking about with Relaying the Pain and all that type of stuff. Boycott or buy black and empower your own communities and black people doing better in that space. That's one thing. We're just literally the only thing, because none of us trust politicians in this room. None of us in this room, we understand the government's not for us. So in this room, we know that having someone in the system that knows that they can't do anything, and if he's got his autonomy, he can be a black man, do what the hell he wants. That's his right. But then to say that it's good that he's there, and even though he knows he can't do anything, and us looking at him, then all of that doesn't
why
work
are we
for me.
celebrating him?
Nothing.
Exactly. Why are we celebrating that he's got what he's got?
So that is a mad problematic thing to say.
What
right?
his black means nothing.
Because he is black, right?
But
we
space.
can't say black is not a monolith, and when we stand in places and we don't directly serve blackness in the way that we envision.
Hold on
a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
His presence is enough.
Why?
Okay.
Why?
Because it is in a space that we do not exist, right?
But he's been put there as a pawn.
I'm saying to you, we have disinvested from the state ages ago,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So if that doesn't mean anything to you, his position being there and not doing anything has no meaning either. But I respect the fact that he has, as a black person, made it there and nobody else has done it, right? It's like I can have that acknowledgement without sitting there believing that he should serve me in any greater way. He is existing being him. Whatever he chooses to do with that is what he chooses to do to that. What are you going to do about it? Because the actual state doesn't work for anybody according to everybody that's speaking. White people don't think it works for them. Asian people don't think it works for them. Women don't think it works for them. Men don't think it works for them. So in all reality, the only answer is you build your own version of it as a layer on top to solve the limitations of government.
Where I will understand you and possibly agree with you is the fact that we're not a monolith. And, I lost my train. Him being able to do what he wants, and if we don't care about the system, we shouldn't care if he's there or not, because...
But I think the danger is what I said. I think the danger is what I said before. What people like him and Kemi do when they stand in those spaces and what they're doing is basically giving people the justification to think that it's okay to hate on us or that we agree with them and they're bullshit. Kemi is so anti-fucking
Kemi's
black.
different,
But Kemi's not the same.
She's not the same.
Save.
She's not the same, but they are... What's the
I feel like
what's the saying?
They're used
They
in
are
a similar way.
They are thank you.
They're tools in a similar way.
They are what's
wanna
it?
say
Brushes
some
from the I can't think of the fucking term.
They get wheeled out.
They get wheeled
to talk about shit that a white person can't talk about.
Okay.
They get wheeled out to talk about shit that a white person can't talk about, and then it comes with the if she thinks it's all right or if he thinks it's all right, then what are you complaining about? Look where he's got. What do you mean that Britain's not racist?
Let me put it this way.
Look, the leader of the Conservative Party is a black woman. What are you talking about?
Right.
And she's not.
Think of the richest black person you can think of.
Yeah.
What do you think they think of working class black people?
That we're lazy.
So what's the difference? The amount of people, I can't sign up to all of those individuals and what they think and what they feel and the fake platitudes that they present to everybody about if you just work hard, you're going to get out, as if there are 30 hurdles getting in the way of that happening, and it definitely ain't going to happen at scale, right? And so I'm saying, what's the plan? It doesn't matter what David Lammy is doing. It doesn't matter what the most famous, richest black person on earth is doing. What are we doing? And when we go into ourselves about what we are self-determined to be able to control, it is not delivered correctly. So my concern is, how do we solve that? It's the only interesting work I have.
That's what we're saying. We're saying that you don't look at David Lammy because he's there as a pawn. You were saying, no, but he's there.
It's amazing.
Something. And I'm like, it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't
he could be a white man there.
It's not about meaning to our experience of blackness, but it means something about the possibilities for people who value that system. Right?
Nobody really doesn't.
Listen, there are a lot of black people that sign up to operate inside the system to become the black messiah from that perspective. And I'm saying the other route is not being delivered upon, which is why black people are feeling the challenges that they're feeling. The answer isn't in anything over there if that is not your value system. If you don't rate that, you just don't rate it, right? Well, what's your thing?
Yes.
What are you doing?
I agree with that. What we don't agree with, what we don't agree with is, who the fuck cares about him? Like, why am I going to be like praising him?
Observing him through a negative lens is a waste of your own energy and understanding.
So what about Kemi? What about, even though I think they're different people, what about Kemi Badenoch? Is it a waste of energy looking at...
It's a waste.
But then what, but her rhetoric is effective in a negative
your
way.
job is not to answer her rhetoric
of
with
course
words.
not.
Your job is to be the example of the other thing. I'm saying the example of the other thing isn't present. And in that vacuum is this over-reliance on the most famous, most successful rapping,
wait a second.
And I don't think it's healthy.
The example of the other isn't present because you have people like her saying that there isn't a problem. When we're talking about being held back because of systemic racism and all of those things, and then you have people like her coming out and saying that that doesn't exist, and then the wider people who don't have, you talked about proximity, they don't have proximity to black people, but they're just seeing her, and they're like, well, it doesn't exist, and they're not being taught and educated about it. They're being taught, well, this racism doesn't exist. Why are you talking?
It's not what she says, it's the lack of evidence to the contrary to what she says. If she says that black people are lazy and we say, no, we're not, you can show a few black exceptionalists that you can present and be like, yeah, but look at this, right? I'm saying if you manage to raise the experience of a working class black people at scale, you shut all that down immediately, right? And I'm saying that is the focus, that is the work. Everything else is noise, right? I don't want to pander to what people aren't doing when they're in particular spaces. When I'm saying, you've built this platform, right? You have a community. I'm saying that is the evidence. That's the counter to her. When she says we don't do that, it's like, well, no, that's not true, because we have this many people, we go do this many things, and we have handle ourselves this way. That is your belief system in action. There isn't enough of this in action to counter those points.
Everything you're saying,
So what is the action points that we can get into, like Elaine and what she's been saying about buy black, and everybody is talking about this. The boycott to not to boycott.
Yeah.
So you said that a level of moving black people out of being working class at scale isn't taking place. How do you see that change taking place, and how do we even do it?
Everyone's got to deliver on their vision and build community around their vision for blackness, right?
Okay.
The whole point of not being a monolith is that he's allowed to become deputy leader. She's allowed to say, we're not buying Asian. I'm allowed to say, let's all be community of dads together. We all do that. And then ultimately you raise the tide of the people who have the same value as you. It will all overall improve the outcomes of black people. You do not have to believe in this single vision, this Messiah idea that someone's coming to take us all
100%.
somewhere. So
Yeah,
I'm saying
100% we agree with
deliver your vision. So anybody that critiques mine, I get it. We're not aligned. You don't believe the way that I'm going to do things is going to work. Go build your own.
Yeah.
So whenever I launched Dope Black Dads, I put every information and spreadsheet out to the public. Take it, edit it, do your own. So when people had a WhatsApp group, a Instagram page, and a podcast, that became like, oh, this is our community, right? But take it. I genuinely didn't mind. I potentially made it open source because I know somebody's going to take it to a 2.0 and a 3.0. The 2.0 of Kojo's Funhouse is Sunday show. The 3.0 is Chucky and Taser and Matthew Bridgman, right? And the 4.0 might be DLT. The 5.0 will be somebody else. I'm saying that is what is supposed to be happening. I don't own any of it. I'm saying I don't own his expression of blackness. He doesn't own mine. Build your vision and work on it continuously, and you will see the value. Kemi Badenoch, and we can be dismissed so easily because after 4 generations of being here, for whatever reason, whether it's right, wrong, fair or unfair, we have not been able to establish ourselves in community in a way that we aren't flickable. We were let in the door for 5 years. They gave us budgets and were like, you're really important. Here's a job. You're director of this. And then when they were done, they removed all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know how many people are unemployed? Do you know how many people
more
have
on
lost
like
their
the
funding?
money of it all, because it's we always say like go and build it. We have 2 black businesses like Plant Made and Afrocentrics who weren't able to sustain, and they on the outside looked like they had big businesses.
Yeah, but they were 1.5 million in debt. Their business got sold for 30K to another black person who then ousted them.
Yeah.
That's got nothing to do with nothing other than...
No, but I'm saying, what is the thing to build it? Because that seems to be a problem, is actually like the cash flow of it all.
It's not cash flow.
Okay,
the
what is
answer
it?
is systems, right?
Yes,
There we go, here we go.
So whenever I remember when we started doing Dope Black Dads and people realized that I could speak on TV, so it was like, Marvin, come to every single black occurrence that's happening. Danny Baker has said, I wanted to, someone's a monkey. Liam Neeson said, I wanted to kill a black guy, right? So Marvin, come on and talk about it. I'm saying, I used to turn up with my full passion, venom and vim, pissed off, like, how dare you, right? And I've lost all this energy and well-being to a psychotic side statement that was being made, and now I'm trying to account to it and humanize us in that moment. I'm saying if you look at other communities and how they operate as a system, there doesn't even need to be emotion. There needs to be communication, language, and a collective view of what's wrong and what needs to be held to account. Doing that doesn't require money. We all spend time on our 2nd and 3rd job, our 3rd and 4th community, and our 5th and 6th extracurricular project. I've got a side this and a side that. I'm saying other communities are taking the money from their businesses and soft funding people to protect their likeness. We don't have that, right? There are many systems that we don't have that aren't predicated on money and profit. And I'm saying that will help us more than having 60 super capitalists being like, oh, this is me and this is how I made my first 300,000. Like that's a separate thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying I don't dishonor people who that's your vision
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's a vision. Go survive how you need to survive. But when we're talking about the central consciousness of blackness, we have all the answers in our ancestral line. We're not even having the closeness to our ancestral line to even know what they are, to then consider adopting them. We get distracted by anything shiny. There's anti-blackness within our own community.
Yeah.
We get distracted by the way, it's bots who are pretending to be
Yes, that's
anti-men,
very true.
anti-women,
Yeah.
anti-old, anti-young,
Yeah.
anti-African, anti-Caribbean, and we're sitting there laughing. I did a post today on Dope Like That's talking about Mahadami, and I got 4 bots on my page talking like human beings, being like, oh, the Democrats never did anything for black people anyway, and so this page is nothing, I'm unfollowing. You go check on their things, it's bots.
Nothing.
We're just in mass destruction, and I'm not judging no one, right? Because I'm in it too, right? I'm just saying to you, the answer is that I attempted mine, you're doing yours. There are many more to be done, but don't be doing community work and then staring at them, man, thinking they're gonna come and add anything. They are hyper-capitalists. They're looking for how to turn 10K to 50K, 50K into a million. If you're not in that game, then your language will have very little crossover. When they make 10 million, they might say, I'm gonna give £70,000 to this community group as a way of rewarding and looking good. That is whiteness 101, right? We know the script, so let's not get distracted when it comes with a black face, right?
We agree with you.
Okay, I
but
love you
also,
guys though.
what it is, we don't agree with you.
I hear you.
Because I'm not bigging up fucking what's his name for being in any space.
I don't. It's
And
not. I don't,
that is that on that.
look, he's there. He's the first one to do it.
Yes.
It will have a meaning to someone in our community.
somebody somewhere.
I can't dismiss.
To somebody somewhere who wants to do something real.
That part is that the visual optics of it, but then there's also you're making it hard for me to say what I'm saying because it is what it is. Everyone can do what the hell they want, and it's also removing the pressure of black people to be all things for all black people at all times because we're not a monolith. I mean that was my point before. So his version, as you said, of blackness and showing up in his version of blackness, it is what it is. I just have a problem with
that. I don't feel like we have that grace.
That's my point. I have a problem with people in those positions
challenge.
when we're where we're at. We're not where we need to be. So to have those people doing that just on, it's not as simple as you can just be there and just be a vision. Because we know that Obama came, a lot of us were like crying in his position. But I would rather he'd not have done it for him to be now the poster of going to get Gaddafi, who was trying to unite Africa. So all that I'd rather
all of these things.
I'd rather
all
Obama not be the poster for that. So I'd rather David Lammy not be the poster for I'm here as a black man and I'm about.
I will say this.
Go on.
I have affinity to values more than I do to race, right?
Sure.
And if your values are aligned to mine, we have way more that we
Definitely.
can be talking
Okay,
about.
fine.
What are his values though? I think that's what I have a problem with.
I don't subscribe to any values that aren't community first, right? And so anyone outside of that, I can like you, I can go to dinner with you, I can listen to you and hear parts of what you're saying and try to see if there's anything that I can use in what I'm doing. But I'm not cowering or celebrating or endorsing any of that. It doesn't mean that to me. And this is what I'm saying to you. When you're in your thing right now, you have limited scope for wasted time because you're in your thing right now. And I'm saying more of us need to be in our version of our thing. And I don't judge you for being in something that I don't understand. It's just not my values.
All right, because time is going.
Okay.
In the world that we're in, just to wrap this bit up, because we got to get to you and some things. We're in a moment of, apparently there's a big industry reset. And we're talking about building community and doing better for blacks and creating black systems. So we've got cancel culture, we've got the gossip world, we've got the cultures in a whole tizzy because of what's happened from Bouncer to Z to Elaine to everything that's going to Ginger J to all the people that have been talking. We're a part of it. So we've got commentators going on and commentators, and we've got some of our faves getting into serious trouble. And all of it is generating money for some people, notoriety for some people, fame for some people. But where do we draw the line? How do we, if there's supposed to be an industry reset, I think this industry reset is just nonsense. There isn't going to be an industry reset. But if we wanted to be a part of an industry reset, what does that even mean to you guys? And how do we get, if Shea Bar is a posted platform for negativity and all the things that's wrong with our culture, how do we turn it on its head and do better? Bearing in mind, we are humans that do like a bit of gossip, like a bit of laughs, like a bit of nonsense, in order to get through our day-to-day bullshit of some of the negatives, a lot of the negatives that's happening. How do we reset the culture, and should we reset the culture in what's being asked of from the bouncers and the peoples of the world?
I don't.
Go on.
I don't think the culture exists.
Oh, interesting.
The culture doesn't exist.
I think so too.
what's
The interpersonal relationships that people have forged for their own individual experience is not a culture,
I hear it.
right? And we talk about it as if it's a strategized, managed,
Exactly.
central hub of
point.
values. It's not, right? And when I say the level of organization, right? And people condemn Jewish people for having this level of organization. But if you try to wipe out my existence, I'm going to organize my clock too, right? They have organized themselves on multiple layers to protect multiple narratives around their lived experience because of the level of fear that they have about being wiped off the face of the earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm saying we haven't developed that.
Exactly.
Again, I'm not judging. I'm just saying it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
If something happens right now, who is the community that are writing a letterhead to the BBC to be like, you're not representing us correctly?
Exactly.
Right?
No, we
And
don't.
so-
We don't have it.
have it.
It was toying.
I think when we talk about, and the thing is, it's weird because I know them all, right? We grew up around each other, whether it's through music, through Sunday show, through doing Dope Black Dads. I don't really have a strong anti-energy towards any of it, right? In the way that some people are communicating. I'm just saying that isn't my center, right? And I don't think the culture exists.
Me too.
It's language that we've developed to try and be like, it's a hodgepodge of things, platforms and places. But each of them are not really aligned to a single value, right? And if you think about right-wing press, you think that the Daily Express, the Daily Mail, the Telegraph are like, hate each other. They talk all the time. Their journalists talk all the time. They're coexisting to represent a solid, consistent communication on ideas. We don't have that, right? I think if you are using Shade Borough as a form of entertainment and you don't have the discipline to unfollow and will not have it, asking David Lammy to have discipline in any form of his life is insulting, right? Asking, I don't know, Stormzy to withhold the millions he got for being in McDonald's is insulting. You can't unfollow a page, right? So again, I don't hold them to those regards, and I don't condemn the people who can't do that, right? But when people start judging, I'm more than happy to present mirrors to people, right? Because it's really, really hard to abstain from easy wins, right? From escapism, right? And I get that. But if you're going to do that, then you can't judge those who are also winning in their own way, doing their own version of it.
Yes.
And I feel like as we are addressing individuals, everything that is happening should be happening. Everything has its time for Ross Clarkism, Bumbleclartism, all the schisms, right?
Yeah.
And there's a point where there's like a black fatigue. The black fatigue is relating to how we are interacting with whiteness. And there's going to be a point where people are like, I don't want to hear no activist talk.
Yeah.
Because we had the activist talk, the leaders failed us, it's all been repealed, and my life hasn't improved, right? There are people who are walking around talking about, I got a Urus, right? A Lamborghini Urus, which is £250,000 car. You chose to buy a car and not a building. I can't help you.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? You are in another realm of your life. And again, it's not judgment, it's just awareness, right? And so I genuinely feel whenever you build your world and your interconnected relationships, the vacuousness of it will implode itself anyway.
100%.
It's not grounded in anything.
Yeah.
It's just people that are just vibing through life, right? And I don't expect much more of them because we've not been integrated into that.
Yeah.
Our parents should have had us sitting down. I'm pretty sure many people are dating their cousins because someone's dad dated half of Hackney and didn't bother to introduce anybody, right? So I'm saying there's bare things that are happening that are that are very candid and very important that we're not in control of. So now trying to control a tiny part of something that we definitely don't have control of, it feels like a bizarre focus point to me, right? I would love us to get to a place where we are building small communities and systems that have consistent goals. Like you talked about going back to different countries. I want to go Grenada with you guys. I want to vibe out and I want to be like winding up like a crazy fool to Calypso, right? That for me is a solution. Sorry, soca.
Clips is a different thing.
That is a focal point for us. That for me is a form of activism against what's going on. That means we have a focal point for a year. We have a place to be. I have a pair of shorts I want to buy.
Right. I agree with you again, but I also disagree with you because I do think that we have tried as Black people to build these communities and we have been stopped in certain places. You cannot say that.
Discuss the stopping. What do you mean by stopped?
And around the culture idea as well. Around the culture of it all as well.
We've been stopped financially. We've been, we've been stopped. We've been stopped politically. We've been stopped by the police. We've been just like physically been stopped. There are tools in place that have kept us down.
But we have never been stopped.
As in, like, our generation.
We've created our things and what we've created. No, like, to be fair, the maddest thing is when I created Dope Black Dads, I got reached out to by 2 Jewish socialists. One of them was an organizer for the Labour Party in the 70s. And he was like, I love what you're doing. This is great. It's what Black people need. It's going to be amazing. But these are the things to look out for. None of those things were external. They were all internal, right? Because he understands what happens. When somebody creates an answer for a long-term problem, there is a over-dependency on that solution and it may implode, right? He said to just look out for certain things, certain signs and certain behaviors and just understand it's going to be super difficult to get your people out of the experiences that they've had and move into this new idea. So don't be disheartened if it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Then he started introducing me to people to funds. This guy's got a grant over here. That guy's got a grant over here. This person can help you with this. You should talk to that person because they built this before. And I just sat there and I thought, this is crazy. That was the only Illuminati type conversation. It wasn't even Illuminati, but as the only organized person to come in and be like, here's some doors, open, blah, 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 go be amazing, right? And I'm saying that how we feel about ourselves, even the idea of one of us leading us out of this is not great. We cannot come up with a silver bullet of like, we build this and it just solves everything. But you can day by day create experiences that restores faith in our likeness, right? I have so much faith in you, Free. If you call me somewhere, let's go to Grenada, I don't even need to know where we're staying. I'm just coming because I feel you ain't gonna stay nowhere bad. You ain't staying, I'm coming, right? There's a trust in places, but then we have to keep building it and create systems. So when tomorrow something bad mind happens, it's like, oh, we've already got this letter template that we send out. We're gonna send it to these 35 journalists, these 25 institutions, and ask them for answers on their behavior. We did this with View Cinema when they removed Blue Story. We've done this a whole bunch of times, right? And we got loads and loads of success, right? I'm saying it is possible, and I've seen it, and I've seen it work.
I would echo that. All the journey, being an entrepreneur is difficult, but it's about the language you use. Because I recently had a conversation with someone saying that Black people don't support, and I said, but what are you? I can't lean into that rhetoric. I've done the British Blacks for 13 years. It's been a long journey because of my lack of resources and my needing to find the right people to work with. But I have been able to exist as a Black woman, running a Black platform for 13 years with the entrepreneurial trials and tribulations, but I'm still here. And I work with Black people all the time. And I refuse now, not even that, I wasn't really much saying that before. I never really believed that Black people can't work together because in my world, Black people are always working together in different ways.
Yes.
So I refuse to say Black people can't work together. It's not a language I would say. Even if I'm fighting 10 million Black people behind my back, I will not say it out loud because it's not true per se. And then, not even per se, it's not even true. And I will also endorse the part of collaboration. There's times when I'm so competitive, I'm like, I want to do that with that person, or that person's doing that, but I know that the power of collaboration is stronger. So I collaborate with We Are Parable, I'll collaborate with other organizations. And even if it's just one or two that I just feel comfortable with, we've got Soul Festival, it's 3 companies that come together. Just that alone and the reinforcement that we can do it, and I genuinely care about the Black community. When I do the honors, when I do things, it's creating a network. We can do it.
Yes.
I just think there's a lot of misinformation about the money that needs to be done that holds people back. There's a lot of misinformation about who we can work with as Black people, that we can't work together and we don't trust each other. Black people are crying out for something. And yes, sometimes we are dependent on a leader to lead us. But sometimes it's not necessarily, maybe we remove the idea that it's a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X or something like that. It's someone that's got the energy and the gumption to have an idea to move it forward. And then we can all work together and do that when we have a
But
relationship.
also,
Yeah, go on.
sorry to interrupt
No,
you,
go ahead.
but also I'm not an entrepreneur solely, right? I work within a system.
Yeah.
And I do believe that you can work within a system and be authentically you.
Exactly.
You do not have to
And
fold
you do
and
that
bend.
well.
You do not have to fold and bend in order to feel like you can get to a certain place.
Yeah, but it depends the system that you're representing. If you're representing a private company, that's one level. If you're representing local
I've
government, that's
represented
another
all of
level.
them. I've represented
If
private
you
companies. I've
represent the
represented public
nation,
companies.
it's a different level. And
I mean, we're moving it from David Lammy at this
I know,
point.
but
Yeah,
I'm
I'm just
saying
saying.
if you want to experience what whiteness does, think about everybody who spoke out any time Britain had an agenda and we did not agree, right? Think about when the Queen died and people were like, yeah, but look what she did she oversaw oppression to all these people. I specifically remember somebody who I was working with wanting to fire somebody for something that they said, and we discussed it at length, right? And I was advising them as to what that meant, right? And why that's not a great idea for you in this moment. But also understand that when you speak against their institutions, you will be flipped to the side. I'm saying these institutions are profoundly greater than any one individual, and they are the foundations of the things that the country protects. Anybody that signs up to it is also going to be charged with protecting those institutions, right? Otherwise they won't make it. So I'm telling you,
That's what I'm saying.
That's
that
why,
David Lammy is.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. No one over there can be considered an ally to us because their service is above our heads.
So going back to the whole thing that culture is not culture, we don't own a culture, but there is something in the Black Britishness that people aspire to.
I don't think I agree with that.
There's
that
no
it's not a
culture. That's what I'm saying.
I actually think it
Where's
is.
the head office?
No,
Who do you call?
But what's the head office of white culture? And there's lots of different factions of it. But
listen,
government,
But we're in Western
literally, white working class people do not. They
have
seek-
unions. Listen,
But black people do as well.
What union?
Well, there are societies.
We have ACSs and ERGs. That's not the same thing.
There are absolutely lodges. There are
We
societies.
have Black Equity
there are
Organisation.
people- Yeah,
Who else?
but there are lodges
But listen to what I'm saying to
that
you.
collect money.
If you go
that
to
do
Newcastle,
things, there are churches.
there are community groups that are 150 years old that have a specific set of things that they do and look after, and they lobby, fight, entertain local MPs, fund their local MPs
That's
to
what we
keep in
definitely
place.
don't do. We don't lobby at this
So
moment.
I'm saying
But
they
I'm
don't
saying
exist.
Culture, as in like a Black British
a way of
media
being. We have that.
space.
We have that.
There is that.
It's incredibly informal.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's,
agreed.
it's
And
fluid.
that's the part. Yeah.
So when we're saying, if you want to go to the culture, let's just say we wanted to, I don't know, somebody needs to raise money. I remember we did something for the Anthony Nolan Trust, the ACLT, right? And we pulled together the Black community leaders at the time, which are basically large promoters, right? And footballers. And we pulled them together and we had an understanding of who does where. We went and got them and we did this event. I'm saying that is coordinated in other communities in one email, right? There's one person to call and be like, we need to do this. So I'm saying it's not a system. I'm saying it's a bunch of people in interpersonal relationships, which at any point can change because someone falls out with somebody or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that for me isn't enough.
It's not an
Again,
infrastructure.
I'm
No,
not condemning,
look,
but it's not real.
I agree with you because I think that is our downfall, and we talk about that a lot. Is that there is no one sense of direction. There's not a collective thought, whereas with other communities there probably is a collective thought. But I also think that is a system that's been inflicted on us. You know, we talk about divide and conquer all the time. We're too busy talking about, oh, you're better than me because I'm better than you because of shade, or all this fucking shit. Or I'm Caribbean, you're African. Like, there's been a conscious effort to make sure that we do not unite because there's power in that.
Yeah,
And unfortunately,
I just strongly
there's too many
believe that
people
the point
still
of
believe
you
in that.
knowing that, what you do next is the only measurement.
Oh, 100%.
Everybody has met the beast.
Yeah.
Now what? Right?
Yeah, 'cause
I can keep telling you there's a beast, there's a beast, there's a beast.
But some
what we're
people don't
doing,
believe the beast. That's
no,
the
but
problem.
even if they don't, then you can still work. You don't need
just
everybody
work
to
with them.
believe for that to
Definitely.
be effective.
Yeah.
I'm saying I only need 50 people, 100 people in a WhatsApp group to have that conversation about masculinity. If I think about how masculinity has changed in the last 10 years being discussed, specifically Black masculinity, it's shifted, right? And it's not just my platform, there's loads, but the point is at that particular point there were none. We now look it down the line and there's loads, right? For me, that's a system. If you want to get 10 good men together who are doing non-profit work, I know them all. right? We're in groups together. We can speak in a day and coordinate an answer. I've been a part of other groups where they have consistently supported people in a particular industry every time something's gone wrong. And it happens like this. There's a letter being composed. There is an article that's being put out. There is signatories underneath. There is a direct action and a ask of particular industries or institutions as to what are you doing to black people. That's a system, right? I'm saying these systems there needs to be a comedian version, there needs to be an artist version.
Yeah.
Why can rap lyrics be used in court cases? That should be being challenged right now on a separate shit. I don't want to come to you and be like, yeah, man, we've got to come together and fix this problem. That's a problem in an industry that can be solved by the people in that industry,
I think
right? So I'm saying building lots of systems in your own image is the answer, right? And I'm saying being able to collaborate, as you mentioned, really fluidly. I have worked with every male influencer I've met can think of. If I see you doing dope stuff, I message you and I call you and I'm like, I just need you to know that I'm accessible to you for anything, right? If someone's doing something dope,
Yeah, you are
I
great
say,
like that. You do that with us as well. You are fantastic
and
like
for
that.
me, that's a value system, right? And I don't impose that on anybody. I'm saying it's possible. I'm saying it's not happening at scale. And the people who are talking about noise should be focusing that energy on building their own version that represents their interests, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not judging you if you don't, but I'm also not going to wear your critique of what I'm doing if you're not doing your thing.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you.
Okay.
Because I think I hear what you're saying about the fact that, because I was agreeing that there's no culture, but there is culture that we don't control. That's all it is. That we're not in. I'm repeating myself.
It's possible. It's possible
and
to
it is
control
possible. But that was my. I think that's my problem with some of the things that have been said, is that all this noise and you're going in for this person and that person, they don't control anything. Yes, they've got a moment where they're the loudest in the room that we're all looking to, but they're not in control of anything. So they can easily be erased, taken down.
Fired.
Or when they get a cold and like, oh my God, I've got a cold, I can't come in and talk online. And then now the next person's come in, said something that's taken my wind away, I no longer exist. It's so, what's it called, a house of cards that we're in this moment. That this culture that we're trying to take down and reset. Reset to what? What's the plan? And that's why at first, yes, certain people just get held accountable, get taken to task for some of the things you've done because it has been a bit damaging. But then what's the aftermath? And then when it starts to look like now everyone's just jumping on and piling on, and now you're just doing it because you know that if you talk about this subject, you're going to get likes and you're going to get a couple of pounds on your YouTube subscription, whatever, then it becomes, again, we're wasting time. And we're just...
Yeah, well, it's attacking people.
And it just
But
becomes...
even that is, I still feel like it's a part of culture. I feel like it's cultural.
What's that?
So the attacking of somebody, when somebody becomes prominent in whatever field, like they're just known, popular, there seems to always be a moment where somebody else is like, you shouldn't be there, and they take them down. And that feels a part of the Black British experience.
Because it's a scarcity mindset, right?
Yes.
And I feel like telling people that genuinely being an example of I don't fear someone holding my space. And in fact, I'll vacate before it's taken, right? Is a freeing notion. But as I said, it's a privileged notion. The level of psychological harm in Blackness is huge.
Yes.
And we don't honor it enough as to how deep it goes and how long it's been going on for, how it's passed down from parents to children.
How it's in, it's in
and
your DNA.
There's so much judgment and shame on what we're not. That's what I'm saying. I will never speak from that angle. I will never. Because I understand. What I'm saying though is, if you have the capacity and the skill, build your answer. Do not entertain the complaints and the noise of others. So bouncers at home in Dubai, building his ting, build your ting. If I'm ZZ Mills, I'm not responding. I'm building my thing, right? And I'm saying there will always be noise. There will always be detractors, right? But we get so caught up in the pride of how we are perceived, which is a massive value system for us, right? Because when you don't have much, your dignity, your pride is really important to you. So I understand the psychological weight of it. But I'm saying both of them will continue to be employed no matter what. They will generate revenue. ZZ Mills will be absolutely fine, right? I don't need to respond to people. I need to work. I'm building, right? And there will always be a distraction. There will always be a detractor. There will always be someone that Marvin didn't do exactly what I thought he should do on a Thursday night when he said he was tired. And I'm like, cool, I'm still cooking though. And I want to invite people into that feeling, right? build people around you where that doesn't matter as much, right? And right now, if people are in Zizi's life and are not affirming her right now, right, to focus, then they're not your real friends.
That part.
In fact,
Yeah,
I might just call her.
Yeah.
Like, I've
Yeah.
known Zizi for a very long time. I'm not gonna act like we're friends and we hang out and shit, but every time I see her, I always hail her up.
love.
She used to come Sunday show, and she was always an interesting character, right? This is before she ever recorded anything. I just have a lot of respect for her. Also, people don't talk about it enough. I think I said this on the last podcast, right? What was possible for a black woman 15 years ago is night and day to today.
Yeah.
So if you've navigated and carved out a space for yourself completely on your own, that's the sickest thing ever.
Yes.
I rate you, right?
Yeah,
Please don't
yeah.
cause any harm in the pursuit of everyone doing their things.
It's that
right?
part.
But if you're doing it and you have some scrapes and some bumps and you get some things
happen.
wrong,
Yeah.
you just have to keep cooking.
And I think it's changing the language and narrative.
I think
just
that's
easily the
really
words.
important as well to, is why I'm slightly pissed at Bouncer, because I actually really love what he's doing and I watch his content every day. I love his 9 o'clock content, which is more motivational. Like, it's actually really making me tap into marketing again. Like, he says things, it's like, I do this. Like, it's just you forget. So it's really powerful. But his pursuit and going after ZZ, there are certain people, they get a moment and they seem to go after the black women. And I just feel like it happens too often. Kelechi is one, ZZ is one, Alani is one. It's like, it's the same people again. They're outspoken, they built a platform, and it feels very easy to target them and your views are going to go up. And I think that's a problem. Again, that is a part of culture because it happens too often.
Yes, that happens. You also can't discount if someone just has a personal thing against somebody. How you feel is how you feel, right? If you go into concepts when you're aggrieved, right? If you feel aggrieved, I don't know the depth of it. If you feel aggrieved, and he says he went to a mental health place, he felt like his family were posted and people were mocking him, right? And she was platforming and a part of that. He has a right to account for himself. We can't neuter men to not mention black women in the pursuit of what they're doing when they do things that directly harm, right? I'm saying it's fair to respond, to what you feel you've been aggrieved by, right? And that's what I'm saying. The honor system has to elevate beyond just gender. I can't.
Wait.
It is just gender because ZZ wasn't interviewing alone. She was there with Sideman. Why is David not in the Venom line?
I'm saying that's a very valid question to ask. It still does not remove the most visible and high-profile person there, right? Also, if I have a relationship with you and you're standing next to someone going to town on me, I'm going to say something to you, right? I'm going to call you, but I'm going to say something to you, right? But so I don't know their dynamic. I'm saying we can't look at people's discrepancies and just reduce everything down to an identity issue before we just look at an interpersonal relationship that has broken, right?
Yeah.
By the way,
But-
ZZ is still amazing, and that's never going to change. So is Olani, so is Kelechi, and I held those women up whenever I encountered them because I genuinely, from my heart, think they're amazing, right? He feels a way, he's saying it, right? If it ever moves into bullying, if it ever moves into inappropriate and disrespect beyond a certain point, then it's different. Then we all should show up to stop that, right? Because it should never go to that place.
I think.
But we can't keep silencing people who are aggrieved with genuine things that happen to them. He's an incredible broadcaster.
No, wait
right?
a second.
I don't agree with it. I don't rate it, but he's an incredible broadcaster. He seems to have a personal grievance that he is justified in his own right in communicating. If I was ZZ, I'm not responding to it, right? Because I think that's a low vibrational thing to do, and you will lose. It's just noise, right? I think she even said that people are studying her stories and comments, waiting for her to respond to see what she's going to say. I'm saying that is a non-winning environment. You lose, right? And I think Zizi's in a winning position. Go win, please, for all of us.
I feel like I think he is in bullying.
That's what I was going to say.
I think
I actually think that it's not okay. Has a grievance and whatever, but the things that he's saying, that's bullying because it is personal. It's not just okay. She did an interview, blah blah blah. He's not addressing what that was about. It is about her personal.
He hasn't addressed what it's about. He believes it's personal.
Not only. He's
throwing in
extra bits that are bullying and are personal to her. He is.
If you listen to him, right, and again, this is not about agreeing. but he justified it. I don't agree with the justification. He's justifying it from his perspective, right? He says, my family were posted. I was ripped to shreds by everybody for something that didn't even happen, right?
Yeah.
So he, at that point, feels aggrieved, right? He can
Yes.
communicate what he needs to do
Yeah.
to honor himself, right?
Yes, agreed.
If it ever feels like bullying, I'm down to whatever, because it doesn't. From my point of view, it's not about just reducing an instance to, oh, it's gender, it's this.
But then
when
his
someone has a genuine
justification-
experience,
but
that's
then his
their thing to sort
justification,
out.
like Nana said, Zizi was not alone in that scenario. The justification
Incredibly
that
call him out on it.
the justification that she's the most visible person
That's not.
that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, but call him out on that, right? But that doesn't dismiss what he feels. Call him out on the in the inequality and the inconsistencies, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also,
Always.
just to get, it's not even about getting into the weeds of that, but just something that I haven't been able to clarify because I can't watch all of it, it's too much. Did post that +44 interview where we could have had him on and said, or who had Little Man on, Little Man said what he said, and we were like, okay, that was taken and went viral.
Yeah.
Did Z, because that's the person who's been targeted, did she then go on to repost, talk about it, did she do that?
But I have no
I don't
idea.
know.
No, it's just +44.
It was just that one thing. So the fact that Shade Borough in this moment were the ones that kind of exacerbated the story and carried it on and on and on. Z was in that interview, asked questions, got the things. It was clipped and went viral out of her control.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't understand.
So, and I'm
No,
not
but-
disappointed.
but
I just wanted
understand,
clarity on that.
No one can do that contested about people that I care about. It's just,
Sure.
imagine if I think you care about me and I discover in a video that you don't, I might be offended.
Yeah, of course,
right?
of course, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not, as I'm saying, I'm not condoning, because I would never do it in a million years. What I'm saying is their personal grievance will be had,
Yeah, yeah,
right? We will conclude what we conclude.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that the values of how we honor women in public domain is important, which
Yes.
is why I hail up people all the time, because I know how hard it is,
Yes.
right? I don't agree with it, but he has a right to communicate his feelings.
Yeah.
And again, if we just move straight into power dynamics, right, before allowing people to say how they feel, which seems to have some justification. He's asking a question about what was going on for you and what that created for him. We talked about earlier, mental health.
Yeah.
If that's real, then what he's doing is real.
Yeah.
Right? He's not performatively doing it. He means what he's saying, right? So I'm saying it's their grievance to handle between them.
I'll get there to a point that
I would-
afterwards, it's
I
the
would like
fourth,
it to
fifth,
be that.
seventh video, then it becomes
Yeah, that's when
outside.
it feels like you're milking it.
Yeah.
And that seems to be a formula that is turning into a cultural path that you can have a legitimate
And yeah.
grievance with her. But when you are then putting out video after video exposing what you're saying is her business that could lose her jobs, when you are aggrieved that you lost things, it's like, that's
The
insanity.
guy
That
thought
makes
about
no
killing
sense.
himself. You know this.
Yeah, okay. But
So no, but-
what's
no,
the-
but-
so
you know
what it
but
feels
say what
like
she's
then,
going through.
Listen to me. When someone feels like they've got to that particular point, every rationale that we're given means nothing. Every time I see people do stuff that I don't rate, I call them, right?
Yeah.
We all underestimate our ability to involve ourselves in things in a loving way.
Yeah.
You don't have a side. You DM Bouncer and be like, Bouncer, I'm listening to you, I'm hearing you.
I actually
think
have
you're-
done that.
Cool. I think
he
you're
got back
going
to
too
us
far.
yet?
No, he hasn't.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you're going too far. If you ever need to discuss this, call me.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying you're pandering, you're doing a service, you're doing therapy.
But that's what we do. We do reach out.
No, but my thing is, again, this is why I say we have similar values, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying I stand in everything I believe, right? If I reach out to Zizi and be like, look, I appreciate you, right? I think you're dope. Please continue going, right? And she's like, this is destroying me. I would message him. I don't know him at all.
Yeah.
I would message him and be
same.
like, are you okay, brother? What's happening
Yeah.
for you while
Yeah.
this is going on to this level, right? It's causing more than it will ever be of value, right? I would do that. I feel like we get into a point of every single interpersonal disconnect. We feel like we create systems of like, that's where the systems exist. As soon as those things happen, it's like, this is what this means and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, people are having an interpersonal fallout. It's their right to do so, right? And if I ever feel like something's gone too far, I'm calling people. I'm calling people. I'm not saying to the world he's a bad person.
Yeah.
I'm calling people.
Sure.
If that's how you feel, do something.
Sure.
Right?
I think that's the line.
Yes.
If you feel some type of way, do something about it.
And the reason why I'm talking like this specifically, right, is there are people who are completely disconnected, who are at home, and they are just voyeurs of all of this, right?
Yeah.
It may not be your place to do so. You can continue to speak into the void about what you feel about what he's doing and set the tone and the language for who he is in your view. That is all a part of the value system and the community that we're building. I'm saying for us who have interpersonal relationships also, who have third-party connections to people that are involved, we can call people, right? And if you're not doing that, I think it's a disservice, right? I call everybody I'm concerned about all the time. And I feel like we don't give ourselves permission to play a role in our own community, but we call it the culture. I'm saying it has no head office, it has no strategy, it has no logo, right? So it doesn't exist. I'm saying if they're supposed to be a part of the culture and they're arguing, the culture should call everybody and make sure that this goes like chill.
This calms down.
Yes.
If you're not doing
part.
that, you are creating content for vibes.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's where my
Yeah,
value
yeah.
system does not live.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm
100%.
not talking about it can't harm ZZ. I'm not saying it can't, it's right for him to be doing that. I think all of it is stuff that I would never do in a million years, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying if it moves us that much, let's call everybody and let's try to bring a resolution.
I actually was going to say,
don't know
because
why I looked at your phone.
he's not just going in on ZZ. He's not just going in on ZZ. He's got posties in his. He's got
Posties,
He's got
the Shea
Shea
Burrows.
So there's a lot going on.
He's got a lot.
But it's not even just about bouncer. It was about the culture
But
thing.
my other question is, when he was talking about being suicidal and in depression, who was checking on him?
I don't know.
No,
That
but
part we don't
also
know.
when he
But
was,
this is what I mean, right?
But
Yeah.
we did talk about black men's mental health and all of those things. Sometimes they're not saying things, and black men don't always talk about how they're feeling. So we don't know. He could have been like, I'm okay, when he really was not. That's not a justification. That's not just
he had a circle of men.
Okay.
He actually spoke about
There
it.
we go.
He had a circle of men that were calling him up every single
That's
day.
good.
He had two or three people that were going to see him because once he had moved back to his mum's, it's like, everything's crashing.
Yeah.
He had a circle of people.
I'm really
but
happy with
in terms of platforms, his whole thing is nobody cared.
Okay.
What he was going through, nobody cared.
I've
They
had
were
my
just
version of that.
doing the story.
I can attest.
Yeah.
People don't care about your individual well-being and welfare. What challenges you go through, what journey you're on, what side you come out. It's like, are you delivering from us, yes or no? It's that simple, right?
Yeah, that's it, and
and
that's
if the
it.
question is for him, it wasn't, then you're discarded, and whatever happens to you is none of our business, right? So when he goes on his villain arc on the other side,
Basically, yeah.
Let it run.
Basically.
he's speaking his mind freely, readily on 25% of the care that he may have had here before. He may have had a filter before and now he doesn't,
Yeah.
right? These people are created in our culture that we talk about. They're created over and over and over again. They all
Yes.
go in the same villain arc.
Yes.
And I'm saying, right, if we're really a community and there really is a culture and there really is a collectivism, then every time someone falls outside of the values of our collective culture, then our job is to build them towards repair.
100%. Well, look, you smart man, you silly man.
But your people are gonna hate me though. So
Why?
They're not going to.
I'll be hates.
They
We're not patting you on the back
trying to get
tonight, babe.
hugs.
Like,
I'm going to get those
you
now.
know they don't hate you.
No, I think sometimes the truth of what's possible is a
It's
really
scary.
tough listen.
Yeah.
Of course.
I think the idea that no one may be coming to save you is a really hard thing to accept.
It's
And
the truth.
And
though.
not everybody has the capacity. I'm talking from a very privileged place, right? Of I can look after myself. Not everybody can. And that's why I look after people. That's why I make them safe in my
pay it
spaces
forward.
because
Yeah.
I genuinely, I've been there where you're sitting there being like, I'm just being affronted. Like I remember being young and just being like, every day I feel like I'm being slapped in the head and nobody's just being like, that's not right.
Yeah.
This is the order that needs to be moved in, right? This is how we treat young, smart black men or whatever. We preserve that group of people and we don't send them all out to county lines. That's not happening anymore. So, I honor the people who don't have the information. My invitation is that there is a genuine need for more of us to be doing our thing without getting lost in the microcosms of it all. From the time we have Russian bots pretending to be us, and we have AI, black people commenting on social stories to try and inflame tensions between us, we're gonna have to start paying attention to what the real threat is. And I promise you, it isn't just as simple as the the white guy up the street, right? And it's definitely not just like, oh, black men are this. It's a genuine vision for what are we building. Build it even if it is all women and crack on. I wish
Okay.
that for you all.
All right, we can't go without having a bit of relationship nonsense.
Last
Last time you were here,
Yes.
you told women to have a slate.
Yes.
You told women
How's your slate coming?
over 40 to have younger women,
How's
younger
your young
men,
slate
younger
going?
boyfriends,
A young slate.
a young slate.
Is it going along?
Some of the comments that came.
She's avoiding the question.
Some of the comments that came from your behaviour, particularly about the slate. Someone said, "This is bad advice, as I don't believe you can build meaningful connections with someone whilst dating multiple people." Someone else said, "He's describing the rules for serial dating. Men deceive women into believing dating multiple people is only for a limited time. It's not. It's a culture," that magic word. C, other person said, "This is stupid. Socializing with multiple people is key. Romantically dating multiple people doesn't work for anyone trying to be in a monogamous relationship." Explain yourself, Marvin.
What's the question?
There is no question.
Let's ask where you thought it's
Just the response of people's disgust with your telling people to have willing to have a slate.
I think I'm at peace with it because I really do understand when it comes to the matter of the heart, people don't have the capacity to be brave.
Yeah.
And they genuinely are speaking from a vulnerable place. I hear that as a vulnerable sharing of, I would never be comfortable in that vehicle. And I think whenever I invited people to look into relationship anarchy, and relationship anarchy is not a vehicle of just like, we'll do whatever every time and whatever. It's actually just to look at what's expected of you in your roles as in a relationship and find alternative ways to exist in that way. It could be like, I live with a man, but we don't sleep in the same bedroom, or we don't sleep in the same bed, or we have 2 single beds in the room, or we don't have kids, or we're not actually going to get married. Like, that's all anarchy, right? Because the expectation is a heteronormative couple get together, do the whole escalator process together, die together. If it doesn't work for you, you build it, right? If you've been single for an extended period of time, then maybe the inputs are not right. It's not you as a person, but what you're trying to input to get something back isn't adding up. I think adjusting the inputs will get you what you need, right? And I think there are people who can build relationships where it's like, our relationship exists with a 20% overlap. I don't want you in my house. I don't need you to know all my friends. I don't need you to even meet my family. But when 3 days a week or 2 days a week, I would love it if we planned a date, we spent the time together, you can stay over. I'm the only person that you're doing that with, and we can build a relationship from that position, right? I'm not willing to give up all my stuff to do it. You will design it in your image and your values and your capacity, and you will find somebody to live life with. It doesn't have to be a man. It doesn't have to be in a traditional setting. It just has to be, right? So that's my invitation to the
Farah, you weren't here experiencing this.
Yeah.
How do you feel hearing this?
I think there is a difference between dating and being in a relationship, like having a partner. I do think that we should date because I kind of agree with you. Like I don't feel like I dated enough.
Yes.
Because then what you do is when you meet someone, you just settle down with them. Then
It was the girl that was wifed up all the time, innit? I know your type, man. I know them. Will you be my girl? Will you be my girl?
Yeah, I'll be, oh
Will you be my girl?
No, anyway.
Will you be my girl?
So
love it.
I think that it's important to date because then you really know what you want rather than you're just settling.
I thought it was beautiful when you said last time about we weren't allowed to connect with men. We were kept
weren't.
from them. So we never got to explore and understand what our relationship to men was. So I'm saying, when I say black women are leading the way in discovering who we all are, and it's unfair, right? We're listening to you and learning stuff. I'm learning that I didn't know either. I just fulfilled a role.
Some of the reactions to that, what was said was that black women are conditioned to hold men down. So that whole thing, I think it was about dating someone younger, growing them, and letting them go off on their merry way.
Nurturing and developing.
And then as the older woman who's now left without that young thing that's gone and you've nurtured them, and then you've got to do it over again. That thing that you're saying, that black women are conditioned to raise a man, grow a man, support a man, and put their feelings second, third, fourth behind a man, that is something that black women are trying to wrestle with and find a way to, yes, show up for men because we are inherently, I think it's genetically predisposed to make sure a black man is okay. But that has not served us well. And then to shape and nurture a young boy to then be, just let him go in 5 years because relationships don't last. That was received by some people in the comments like, Yeah, nah, you're just doing the kind of hotepery way of saying.
No, but there's a difference between like when you're dating people and when you're in a relationship.
This is specifically about getting into a relationship. You were like saying don't look for the necessarily for long term. I'm looking for, you were saying like 10 years younger. So women should be looking at 10 years
in
younger.
their 30s. And not thinking about it like if you meet somebody, it's going to be forever. It may actually just be
get
5
it.
You've got to
years.
nurture that and just let it go. And if it is a
okay.
relationship and they happen to leave you because now you're 60 years old and they're looking
And
at...
I don't want to. If I'm getting into a relationship, I'm not getting into it with the intention of it's only for a little bit.
But that's
the thing.
Where did you learn that though?
That's what we've been conditioned to, right?
By who?
By society.
Not by me, not by men.
By society.
No, but who conditioned you that the person that you're with must be forever? It's a choice.
Society.
Yeah, but I'm saying
I can't give an individual person, but every system that we grew up in, in the world that I grew up in, women are conditioned to want a husband
Yes.
and be married to them forever.
Yes.
Earlier
We talked about blackness. We talked about our affinity and understanding of certain parts of the black community. We have an awareness of what it is. We have seen it and we understand. In the seeing it of like what actually happens, how long relationships really last, how long they really last, are they healthy or not? We can have a redesign based on the evidence, right? The redesign doesn't have to be this subject is a bad, evil person and we should all mock them and we're not necessarily into them. It's like, this is how I interact with it. The same way you learn how to navigate your working environments is you have a rule-based system in your head. I'm willing to give this much. That's what interpersonal relationships are. We talked about a diminishing impact of friendships. Well, that's learning what friends have become and adjusting. You don't sit there and badger friends to be like, be better, be better, be better. You just, okay, this is our capacity as friends. We go this deep together. Again, the things that women were promised from young, I think have led to a disconnect as to what is real. If you have met the man of your dreams before, that's different, right? Because that means that's your version of compatibility. I'm saying the woman I was promised doesn't exist, but not because women are bad, it's because they were incorrectly sold to me, right? And I'm saying that has happened for so long in generations. This nice little lady that's meek and quiet, who cooks, cleans, and bada, doesn't even exist. By the way, I do all that stuff myself, and I really enjoy it, right? I don't even want that taken away from me. I would like to keep that in my repertoire. But I'm saying that everything that we were all sold as young people has never existed from an economic point of view, from a romantic point of view, your friendship circles. It's not as you were sold, you've had to adjust and be like, actually, this is what it should be. My invitation is in the realm of love, you can take a hard line, right? If you don't have the capacity to deal with masculine energy, please rest. Like, save yourself. Don't go down the road and feel like you have to fulfill it on behalf of some vision of yourself. I'm saying if you really want companionship and it matters to you, go find it. It's accessible, it's there. But you have to design it on what your life really is, not on nice ideas of romantic men on horses bringing box of chocolates and diving off helicopters.
Yeah, come on. That's not.
I agree.
All.
I got facetious at the end. Let me allow to be a little bit candid.
I agree. No, I agree.
No, I agree with that. Like, who's looking for that? I'm not looking for that.
I wouldn't mind, but yeah.
I'm looking for someone that can meet me where I'm at.
And that's a very specific design, right? That's not off the shelf man. That's a man in your image, your mold. And I think that's a very important thing to have. But I think how you find it isn't going to be linear because what you're asking for isn't linear. It's hyper-personalized.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if I want to test the design to my liking.
At this age, I'm allowed to like that. I'm allowed to want that. Rather than just taking whatever
but
and
that's
trying
a separate
to
journey.
adapt to that mold
that's
of
what
what they...
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Exactly.
That journey doesn't center how bad men is. That centers your specific desires at this time not being in alignment, which I think is just natural, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying when we're talking about the rhetoric online, when we talk about dating, it almost speaks as if there is not another person involved in the relationship. But this is why I'm saying
that I agree with you in the sense of like just date. Before you find someone that you want to...
I hear the dating.
I don't know about
people were pissed off about it a lot. They were, of everything you said, that seemed to rub a lot of women up the wrong way, especially the black women. That it's like, so I must be like the mammy, like we're always cast as the mammy and stuff. That's how it was being seen.
This is where I'm saying, if you're in a relationship and you're not nurturing your partner, you shouldn't be in a relationship, right? that's a mutual statement for all genders.
Sure.
Why are you in a relationship believing you're not going to bring that part of you, right? And I understand the overexploitation of specifically Black women's maternal instincts, right? It's been used to the hilt.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's your role in that equation to develop an understanding of when it's too much and when it's not. You only do that in the relationship.
Yeah.
You don't do it in theory at home.
Yeah.
Right? And then bring it into a relationship and be like, oh, this is the point where I stop actually.
Yeah.
Even me, like I'm a giver. Like I love providing. It really makes me happy to provide, right? But that can easily be exploited.
Yes.
I remember I went into a relationship and I was just like, I like you a lot, you know. You're a great person. And I just started providing. I just swept her up and was like, I'm going to look after you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to support you with your business, yada, 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 yada. And she said yes, but she didn't want to be there. And the second it got difficult, she showed me she didn't want to be there. That was a lesson to me, right? And so I'm saying we all get hit in the head. Who you become as a result is an important matter. So the men who get activated because a woman cheated on them or left them or didn't like it when they cried and they turn into these villain arcs, for me, then that means that was never your values, right? That means you were transacting with people. That means you were showing up as this nice guy so you can get the ting and go about your business. I come real full and whole. So if I'm telling you this is who I am and I deliver my end and you don't deliver yours, that's actually my fault. So I have been responsible for the breakdown of all my relationships because I didn't inquire deep enough into the person that I was coupling with. They didn't believe in my vision. They didn't really want to go there, or they just didn't want to do the work, right? Whatever the version is, but I will never adjust my tone and start making it out like, oh, this woman is this. And I only date Black women, so it's like, Black women are this. It's like, it's no. That means it's not my values. I did it for me because that's who I am, right? When it's exploited, that's when I stop with that person, but that doesn't mean I change who I am as a result. And if I do choose to change who I am, that's my choice to do so. That's not centered in anybody else. So I really want to be clear. I'm not trying to, I have the data. I know what men are and have been to everyone, all women, specifically Black women. What I'm saying is, who are you now? That's the question. Who are you now? And if you are somebody that hates men, can't trust men, wants men to be away, you think they're embarrassing, you will never post, that's fine, right? I don't even think that's bad. I just think that's fine. But then you're not in this conversation of the people trying to couple, right? The people trying to couple are trying to figure out the dynamic and the balance of things and how do I show up?
Yeah.
Those are the people that I'm speaking to.
Yeah.
Anyway,
man, stop with your chat. You need to stop.
Let me just do this question because I asked them. I have a question from Rochelle. She says, what does he think about new age podcasts of men? What do you feel about the
Do you have one in
landscape
mind?
of a podcast of men? I would say maybe Sinners or whatever. You've seen those pods?
No.
Yeah. No.
What I will say, because I wanted you to name them just so someone can reference the two things that I'm saying right now. I think men, specifically Black men, have been silenced for a very long time, right? And to hear what they think is a value add to everybody. Because a lot of the time, we never heard what men were talking about in their spaces, in their comfort, in their kikiing, right? We didn't know. We had an idea, we had an assumption based on how they show up. We're getting more information about how we all exist, how we all feel about each other, what we think about each other, what we find funny, all of those things. That for me is information for you to navigate, right? I am not against people speaking. I always wish that people would speak with the most informative, powerful forms of communication to move people into a better direction. But the low vibrational stuff is what it is. I don't go onto those platforms if I don't like the tone of them. There's loads that I would never do. And it's just like, you're not built to understand what I'm saying. You're not in that place in life where that matters to you in that way. And so we just disconnect, we stop, right? But I don't have a judgment on it. I just think it's more information for you to navigate the men around you, right? In a way that you probably wouldn't have had before. Please use it and protect yourself.
Take it as an instruction manual to men.
An insight.
Is there any more of those? I feel like, can we blitz any more real quick? Because I feel like they asked and I feel rude.
I have, Sherilyn says, what does he see as the main factors stopping people from breaking generational cycles?
Because trauma hurts. It hurts. people. The thing is, the hidden wounds are the worst ones. It's not the ones I've been punched in the face bare times, but when your heart is broken, yo, I've recovered from a punch in the face in a couple of days. It wasn't even a couple of days, a few hours. But you break my heart. I'm open to you. I tell you all my ugly things. You say I accept them and I love them, and then you don't. It's deeper, right? Also, like, your formative years have patterns in them designed by your parents. You can't just unwind that in a quick, oh, I seem to get angry sometimes. That's related to my dad when he used to, like, that doesn't happen. So you have to explore every dark memory that you've intentionally tried to forget. And I just think it's really, really painful. And people would prefer to go on Shade Borough, masturbate on Pornhub, and cheat on women, right? So, or men. So I just think, like, there's a very basic way to navigate those strong feelings. I have become weirdly accustomed to that discomfort, and it allows me to look myself in the mirror more than not. And I still hate it. There's some days where I'm like, I don't want to be this guy. I want a shortcut. I just want to go and, like, do a quick thing and leave me alone. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but I can't. Like, it's so, a big part of the work is silent. It's not really me doing any big, like, climbing a mountain. It's just like abstaining from things that would be easy. And I just can't have them. So it's really, really difficult. And I think that's why, and there isn't enough emotional support for the people trying to do those difficult things.
Not enough tools.
So they stop.
All right, last one. What pieces of popular advice do you hate?
And anything that makes the work sound simple, fun, and easy. Like, if you just do this, then this, like, your life will change. Like, your life will change talks are full of shit, right? Because when you're like, I had everything I thought I needed and it wasn't working. That was sadness, right? Getting everything I wanted was really hard and really, really difficult and painful. I got it all and it didn't work. That was painful. Then to deconstruct that and learn what I needed to get was painful. Then to rebuild was painful. Do not reduce my experience of pain to a quote that looks like a bumper sticker. I wish slapping was legal, because those are the kind of people that right? I say it's so painful and so hard that many people will avoid it, and I understand why. But I'm telling you that the point when you get it and you start moving and your life grows, you're like, this is what people protect, right? This is why you care about yourself enough to go to the gym, to go to the doctor, and to be vulnerable with your partner, because you want them in your life when you're 70. My ego has to die as a part of that. The symbolically killing of your own ego is a massive ritual.
Yeah.
Yes.
It includes public humiliation at some point.
Yes.
So a lot of it is things that are bigger than concepts that we can just share in a, like, podcast, because the person on the other end to receive it needs to be able to be like, yeah, but no, because they have to deny what I'm saying. And I'll work with them slowly and take them on the journey of why it's the only way. And at the end, when it's in your body and you know there's no other way, you will do the work without another word from me, right? So I know my particular time is when you're at rock bottom, this is when I'm useful, right? And then at that point, you will hear somebody's words that will guide you to get you out of the mud, and then you will do the rest yourself. You don't need me after that, right? So every single time I'm trying to start that particular process, and that's it. So yeah, I wish I were the best, Sherry. I really appreciate that question, and I really appreciate all of those. Those were my favorite. I love when the people are asking what they want to know. I know you had some about cussing me out about some of my other points.
Hold on, wait. You're trying to say that the rest of this time was not as great?
Not as rich. It's not as rich as those questions, because my body came
Oh,
alive.
you know what? Joey had a special request.
Shouts to Joey.
Should he invite his exes to a landmark birthday?
All of them.
I feel
He
like
said
we're always talking to him about this stuff.
4 exes. Should he invite them?
Yeah.
You think that's a good idea?
Can you manage the relationships, the feelings, the emotions of it all?
The
Are
aftermath.
you that type of man? If you can, then bring them.
If you can't, then
There you
don't.
go. You got your answer.
Yeah.
This is a stupid
Listen, man,
question.
you can
wow.
do things
He
that
said he wanted
would
it from-
defy people's logic if you're able to hold the room well. If you're not, and it all turns into a chaos and people start fighting, you failed and you've actually dishonored those friendships. And if I was them, I would never talk to you again. So it's a risk. You got to know for real
Can
if
you
you're that
handle
guy.
it?
Are you really that guy, or are you chest?
Okay. It's officially
That's
nearly
the
the
question
next day.
times.
It's cool, man. I don't have a life, so I work
You have to drop
part-time.
us all home.
Listen,
Marvin, our favourite is guy. One of
G's.
them. Gosh. I say that every podcast.
You do. You're a hoe.
No, we love you and we appreciate you always. Your pearls of wisdom go far, and we love you.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
See you in
I really
Grenada.
hope it's met that way. No, I'm gonna hang out.
Doesn't
with you
matter.
for
We're
definitely.
we care in this room. To be fair,
That's true. And by the way, I do feel really loved and held by you all the time, online and offline. So it is always
wonderful.
nice to roam the world and run into you. I think when I ran into you guys at your thing, that was my favorite thing to discover. I didn't really know what I was coming to. I just
I
turned
know.
up.
Just like come on.
So my poor friend was like, "What?" And I was like, "Sorry, I had no idea. I just turned up because you told me. I didn't even read the
Honest.
thing."
At the honours.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see you there.
We were literally
Yes,
running
you-
around
oh my
dancing. We
God.
were
Did
dancing
I
when
see
he came
you?
in.
You was off.
Listen, I don't
you had a tie.
remember seeing you.
He was there.
You said some things.
No, I did not.
You said
I
some
don't
things.
say things when I'm drunk.
Farah, you said some
She
things.
does
I
love
so
you
did
when you're
not.
That was
I'm
fun.
gonna
just
I'm gonna send you
lovely.
an email with quotables. You said some
Boo.
things.
Boo. I really don't remember seeing you though.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.